It is the overarching symbol of St. Louis. It's the Gateway Arch on the banks of the Mississippi River, and nearby the Edward Jones Dome, filled to capacity tonight as the season ends with the San Francisco 49ers coming in to face the St. Louis Rams on Monday Night Football. Al Michaels with John Madden, Melissa Stark. Welcome to St. Louis, where the 49ers come to town. They'll try to win the game, but primarily they'll try to stay healthy. Thus, Jeff Garcia will not play very much tonight. Well, he'll be in and out after the first series. Terrell Owens isn't even here, nursing a minor groin injury, but ready to play when the 49ers meet the New York Giants in San Francisco on Sunday and try to take the first step toward winning their first Super Bowl since 1994. A lot of crazy things have happened in the National Football League this season, but how's this for craziness on the last night? The St. Louis Rams, because of injury, start their fourth-string quarterback, a guy who was waived earlier this season by, of all teams, the Cincinnati Bengals. Scott Covington gets the start. John, Mike Martz told us yesterday, the Rams coach, if Scott Covington can play the way he practiced this week, we'll beat the hell out of the 49ers. You watch them practice. What do you think?
I agree with Mike Martz because I saw the same thing. I mean, on Saturday night, he lit it up. I mean, he's very accurate. He has great velocity. He made all the throws. He did everything that an NFL quarterback has to do. But as Mike Martz said, the only thing I'm really worried about is his management of the game. Getting the team in and out of the huddle, getting up to the line of scrimmage, getting the play off in time. As of last night, Mike Martz said he didn't know all the plays. He said, but he guarantees by tonight he'll have everything down.
On the other side, Steve Mariucci is going to get a good look tonight at a guy he might need in a pinch in the playoffs, and that's Tim Rattay.
And I think that's the important thing for Steve Mariucci here. He's not going to play Jeff Garcia much. He wants to get him in there, maybe get him a series, get him out of the game, get Tim Rattay in there. He said for two reasons. One, if something happens to Jeff Garcia in the playoffs, I want Tim Rattay ready. And number two, he said we have to find out about Tim Rattay long term. Is he really our quarterback for the future?
We have our work cut out tonight, you know.
We do.
We'll keep it interesting. We'll bring out the dancing bears. John may play the kazoo, whatever it takes, on Monday Night Football. Tonight's ground stats are brought to you by FedEx.
Is it hot in here?
It's a steam room. And once again, you veered off course. A doctor's illegible handwriting causes the warehouse to ship otoscopes instead of stethoscopes.
That'll cause a misdiagnosis.
Or a really weird chest exam. But the doctor logs on to FedEx Insight, spots the order disorder while it's still en route. She has the right parts reshipped stat, and a potential shipping shenanigan gets a FedEx inoculation.
I thought a shenanigan was a good thing.
No, that's a hullabaloo.
Kind of like a brouhaha?
Sure.
There's tough. And there's built Ford tough. Enter the Ford Make the Tough Call and Win sweepstakes. Just go to bcsfootball.com or call for details. Watch the Rose Bowl game presented by PlayStation 2 on ABC. Name the built Ford Tough play of the game and you could win an F-Series Super Duty with a new Power Stroke diesel.
I just love this time of year. Are you ready for some football?
And a full house at the Edward Jones Dome is ready for some football as we go down to the field and welcome Melissa Stark. Melissa.
Hi, Al. You mentioned that Scott Covington gets the start at quarterback for the Rams, but the big question for the team, who will be the starting quarterback next year? Mike Martz stood behind Kurt Warner during his early season struggles, said when he came back from injury, he would be the starter no matter what. But when Mark Bulger won his first 5 starts and Warner struggled, Martz declared the job open for competition. I sat down with Warner and asked him his thoughts on Martz's decision.
I've earned the right to have to lose it, you know, and not have somebody else come in and take it from me, I guess is kind of the situation where I feel like, you know, if I can't get the job done, if I can't live up to that standard that I've set, then that's one thing. But for somebody to come in and play at the same standard for a period of time, I don't think that warrants me losing my position, is I guess how I look at it. That until I can't play at the level that I'm capable of playing at, then I deserve to have that job. And when I can't, then that's when changes probably should be made.
I'll talk to Bulger later in the game to get his thoughts on the situation. And Al, it's certainly a topic that you and John will be expanding on all night.
No doubt about it, and it'll be the big story when when they go to training camp next year. Marshall Faulk, meanwhile, is the emergency quarterback tonight as the Rams get ready to meet San Francisco.
I moved my money to Charles Schwab because my dad gave me advice that I actually chose to listen to for once.
I moved my money to Charles Schwab because I did my homework.
With Schwab, I can go to sleep at night now. I don't get nightmares anymore.
It gives me a level of comfort that I didn't have at my old broker.
I moved my money to Charles Schwab so I can spend more time with my kids and less time worrying about my money.
You know, they do care, and they do want to know, as your life changes and as you grow, how can they help you?
This year, investors moved more than $30 billion to Charles Schwab. Come see why.
ABC Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
End of the season, final game, Week 17 in St. Louis. 49ers and Rams, arch rivals. And Jeff Wilkins to kick off for the Rams. Cedric Wilson and Paul Smith drop back deep for the 49ers.
You know, one of the interesting things Mike Martz was telling us last night, that he's going to have a lot of tricks in the kicking game. You don't think he would start off with one here, do you?
Well, if you're 6-9 and you have nothing really to play for in terms of the standings, why not? If not now, when? Not now. Maybe later.
We'll see the tricks later.
Right from the 3-yard line, Cedric Wilson. And Wilson brings it back up to the 19, tackled there by Nick Sorensen. Take a look at the 49ers starting 11.
Jeff Garcia, San Jose State.
Harrison Hurst, the one and only Georgia.
Fred Beasley, Auburn.
Ty Streets, Michigan.
J.J. Stokes, UCLA.
Eric Johnson, Yale.
Matt Willig, Southern Cal.
Eric Heitman, Stanford.
Jeremy Newberry, Cal Berkeley.
Kyle Kazar, Arizona State.
Scott Gregg, Montana.
And again, minus Terrell Owens. If this was a playoff game, Owens would definitely play. He will play Sunday in San Francisco as Hurst takes it here up to the 21, but they wanted to keep him off the trip and not have him run up and down the field and perhaps injure it further tonight. As you look at Garcia, and we're not going to see very much of Garcia tonight, as I mentioned, one series and he's gone. For the good year, though, twice as many touchdown passes as interceptions for Steve Mariucci, who is now concluding his 6th season as the 49er coach. From the 21, Stokes in motion. Rams showing blitz. It's picked up. And on the ground, Robert Thomas makes the stop there on Hurst. Let's take a look at the Ram D.
Leonard Little, Tennessee.
Ryan Pickett, The Ohio State University.
Jeff Scanina, Purdue University.
Damian Lewis, Miami.
Cortland Bullock Jr., The Ohio State University.
Jamie Duncan, Vanderbilt.
Robert Thomas, UCLA.
Travis Fisher, Central Florida.
Adam Archuleta, Arizona State.
Kim Herring, Penn State.
Joy Bly, North Carolina.
That Travis Fisher, the quarterback, having an excellent season. The rookie from Central Florida, and number 2 draft choice. 3rd down and 4 on the ground again. So it's 3 running plays, and it's Hurst taking it up to the 29 for a first down, and he's tackled there by the former Buccaneer Jamie Duncan.
You know, that's not a bad thing to do, and I think more teams in the NFL are doing it. Is get these defenses in their nickel package. On that play, the Rams had 6 defensive backs in there, and then you have defensive backs playing linebacker position, and then instead of throwing into that, you run right at it. And I think they're finding that the running is pretty good in those situations.
So Hurst has carried on the first 3 plays for 11 yards. And Garcia's first pass attempt of the night over the middle, and it's Hurst who makes the catch. Statistically, when you look at Hurst, who has missed some time with injuries this year, and he has shared time with Kevin Barlow, he is up and over 900 yards. He right now has 916, so he'd still need 84 more tonight to reach 1,000. Not likely in this scenario.
Well, the thing is, I think he's going to play quite a bit because there's only 45 guys on the team, and you want to rest some, but they really only have 2 tailbacks. That's, Garrison Hurst and Kevin Barlow, and I think they're going to just keep that normal rotation in this game.
They have 2 tailbacks and only 3 wide receivers. And that's Jamie Duncan making the hit on Hurst. Garrison is up to the 35, or gets just about back to the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, you see Adam Archuleta, the strong safety for the Rams. They play a lot of cover too, but then on running downs, they bring him up as the 8th man in the box. And you see, they saw Archuleta coming up, and they got him blocked, but they didn't get Jamie Duncan blocked. You see him looking for Archuleta and say, watch out for him coming down. They pick him off and then let the linebacker go.
3rd down and 4 now. And after they spread it out, they give it to Hurst, and Garrison takes it up to the 40-yard line, and that's Duncan in once again on the tackle.
And it's that same type of thing. They get him in their nickel defense, and then they run on it and get a 1st down. And you know, it's funny how you always think of the 49ers, the West Coast offense, that they pass all the time, but they're also a very good running team. And you see what this does when you get them in nickel, then you get their ends coming up the field pass rushing, and you take advantage of them, and they just run themselves right out of the play.
4 minutes into the game, 1st down for the San Francisco 49ers. Garcia's attempted only 1 pass, and this is Fred Beasley, so they changed it up as they take Hurst out, put Barlow in, and give the ball to the fullback, and he's tackled by Duncan, who's been in on almost every play.
Yeah, he's been in on every play in this game, but the Rams are really disappointed in Jamie Duncan. I mean, they thought that he was going to come in here from Tampa and he was going to be the answer to London Fletcher at middle linebacker, and he really hasn't been. I think that Jamie Duncan won't be the middle linebacker of this Ram defense next year.
And it was stressed last night by Mike March that one of the things they're going to really have to retool is the linebacker group. And that would say it all in terms of how they feel about Duncan's performance. 2nd down and 7 as Garcia throws. Beasley catches him in the flat, picks up the 1st down, and the San Francisco fullback is taken down at the 47-yard line.
And he's a very valuable guy, Fred Beasley. I mean, you know, he doesn't run a lot, but he's an excellent blocker, and he's a very good pass receiver. And you know, here there's an overload on Garcia's left side. You see he's getting pressure from the left side, so he goes out to the right, and then he finds Fred Beasley out there open all by himself. The thing about the Ram defense, though, they still hustle. You know, they got that loaf thing, and you can't loaf, and they get a lot of blue jerseys to the ball. Sometimes it's just a little too late this year.
Opening drive of the game, it began at the 18-yard line. The ground again, and this is the first carry for Kevin Barlow, who splits time with Garrison Hurst. Barlow's 2nd year back out of Pittsburgh, big, 6'1" and 238. Hurst 5'11", 215.
You know, and that's a heck of a combination. You know, when you add up what Barlow has gained and you know to what Garrison Hurst has gained, that position has been very, very productive for the 49ers.
And it's worked out very much the way Steve Mariucci said he hoped it would. We had a preseason game in Denver in August, and Steve was saying, you know, it's easy to say it, but I really want to do it. I really want to get Barlow and Hurst both in the game about an equal amount of time, and it's pretty much what's happened this year. 2nd and 9. And stopped after 2 is Barlow at the 44, and there's a look at it. Garrison with 921 up to the moment. Barlow, who missed some time in the past couple of weeks with an injury, approaching 600. Averages fairly similar. And Hurst has found his way into the end zone twice as much as Kevin.
But if you just add them up, I mean, there's 1,500 yards, and then you add up the touchdowns combined, and that position, as I said, is a very, very productive one for him.
This drive now 7 minutes old. On a 3rd down and 7 from the 45-yard line. And Garcia is going to head for the sidelines and take it out of bounds right there. Pushed out by James Whitley, but it's another 1st down, and the Niners making the most out of Garcia's 1 series. They've already consumed almost half the quarter.
You know, you get the feeling Jeff Garcia just knows how to play the game. You know, I mean, he knows how to, set up, and he feels pressure very well. You see, earlier we saw where he had pressure from the left. He went to the right. That time he had pressure from the right, and he goes out to the left and gets the 1st down. where I was saying that Scott Covington is a great practice quarterback. I think on the other end of that, I think Jeff Garcia is the worst practicing quarterback I've ever seen.
On 1st and 10, here's Hurst breaking a tackle, chased by Herring, who knocks him down, but not until he picks up a first down. Broke a Dre Bly tackle, and it's another 49er first down.
And I think that's what really frustrates Lovie Smith is Dre Bly missing tackles. When you play a cover 2, those corners have to be force guys. And when you run a sweep, when you come out to this side, the force guy has to be the first guy up on the outside, and he has to make that play. And Dre Bly has been doing this too much. He's been way too inconsistent. And, you know, a cover 2 corner has to be kind of a half corner, half strong safety, and sometimes half linebacker.
13th play of a drive. They picked up 57 on the drive so far. You can make it 58 now on 13 plays as Hurst gains 1, and Garrison has already handled the ball as a runner tonight 7 times for 28 yards, and he's caught 1.
So I guess that'd be a third.
It would be.
Yeah, a linebacker, a strong safety in the corner. But the thing is, to play cover 2, the corners have to be physical. And you always think of those Tampa corners. That you can't have any guests. You can't have anyone that doesn't tackle well. And the Rams are kind of living with that, and that's been one of their problems on defense.
2nd and 9 from the 24. Hurst, and Hurst takes it to the 20. You know, John, I get the feeling in knowing Garcia, if it was up to him, he'd play the whole game, or at least most of the game, but Mariucci said no way. So he's going to milk this baby for all it's worth. He's already had the ball over 9 minutes.
Right. On the last series, after a first down run, he was mad. I know it. In fact, he went over and started talking to the sideline. I know he was talking about he wanted a first down pass. He didn't want to get in that rut of running every time on first down and second down and getting in third down passing situations. But they've been running themselves out of these situations.
This is already the longest first drive by any team in any game this year. 3rd and 5, and they just do get it off, and then it's a busted play, and Garcia is going to take it for a first down to the 12-yard line.
As you say, that was either a busted play or it was a heck of a call, and it was a naked bootleg.
Are you going to call it a naked bootleg?
No, I wouldn't.
Before the playoffs?
No, I wouldn't. But watch this. That's what it is, though. I really think so. I think that Garcia watches that offside. When he hands off on the right side, he looks at that left side, and if those guys are coming down the line of scrimmage like that, he knows that he can get outside and get a first down. Sometimes the play is called a running play to the right, and he does that on his own.
From the 14, Barlow jumps out of bounds, and a flag is down. Our first of the game. The referee tonight is Terry McCauley.
Robert Thomas was the linebacker that missed that tackle. I think the 49ers are very physical. I mean, they come out here and you say, oh, well, they don't have anything to play for. They have to get ready for next week. They've come out here and they've taken this to the Ram defense.
Defense, number 51, half the distance to the goal, first down.
That's Cortland Bullard, a rookie out of Ohio State. You know, for Mariucci, among other things, this is beautiful. His team looks efficient, but if you're a coach going into a playoff game in 6 days, you want the game to go as fast as you can with as few plays as you can.
Right, and he's getting exactly that because they're eating up this whole first quarter on this drive. Jeff Garcia is going to get a little more work or a few more plays than I think Steve Mariucci imagined, but they look awfully sharp, and I like this offensive line. I mean, they have a couple of rookies in there, and they're doing very well. I mean, the 2 guards are rookie sixth-round picks.
1st and goal from the 2. And stopped by Adam Archuleta is Kevin Barlow. This is already the longest drive of the year by any team in any game. We mentioned the longest first drive a couple of minutes ago. This is the longest drive now, period.
There's Kyle Kozar. He's a right guard. The rookie right guard, 6th-round draft choice. The left guard is number 66, Eric Heitman. Those two guys are doing a nice job in the middle along with the center, the Pro Bowl center, Jeremy Newberry.
The 18th play of the opening drive is not a touchdown. It's going to be Kevin Barlow to the 1.
I'll tell you, if they're still pursuing, if that Ram defense is still pursuing the way they were the last time that Jeff Garcia ran, he's going to run a bootleg right here.
You know, a lot of people have said, boy, can you imagine if they could do a game commercial free? Here it is.
You ask for it, you get it.
That's right.
This is what you want? Okay, take it.
Only on Monday night. 3rd down and goal from the 1. The 19th play of this drive is Garcia with a fake, looking, and then he has to throw it away. So it's going to be a 20-play drive, and they're going to try to end it with a field goal.
And Jeff Garcia was really upset with that play because he would have liked to have forced it in there, but he knew he had the field goal, and he's a very smart player. He knew he had to throw the ball away, but that's the last thing that Jeff Garcia wanted to do on this play, was throw it away. See right here, he has nothing, he has nothing, he has nothing, and he just has to throw it away and then take this field goal. He is a competitive guy.
Jeff Chandler now for a field goal that is shorter than an extra point. 19-yarder is good, and that's the 20th play by the 49ers. They held the ball 13 minutes, 7 seconds. 3-0.
Okay, boys, called in the air.
On January 7th, own the ultimate experience of the year's #1 thriller.
There's a monster outside my room. Can I have a glass of water?
With deleted scenes and incredible bonus features, it's the one DVD you have to own. Mel Gibson.
It's happening. Don't be afraid.
M. Night Shyamalan's Signs. Own it on video and Vista Series DVD January 7th.
Okay, guys, get this bird put away and we're done for the day.
With a new available Power Stroke diesel, 5-speed automatic torque shift transmission, and the most torque and horsepower of any diesel pickup, F-Series Super Duty goes way beyond just getting the job done. F-Series, the best-selling truck on the planet, is built for tough.
ABC's Monday Night Football being brought to you by Budweiser, brewed fresh in America. Signs. Own it on video and DVD. FedEx, Ground International, online or express. Don't worry, there's a FedEx for that. And Ford, the best-selling trucks are built Ford tough. 20 plays, including the field goal. The time 12:07. So that's 20% of the game. It's a 60-minute game, and they held the ball for 12 minutes. Longest drive in the league. And they wind up with 3 points.
And that group that we just saw the shot of there in the 49er sideline, I thought did excellently on that first drive. They really beat the Ram defensive line to the punch.
Here's Chandler's kick, and it's a little wobbler, and he's lucky it stays in bounds. And it's fielded by Brandon Maliuna, backup tight end, who takes it back up to the 31-yard line. And the Rams will finally come out and get the ball.
If you think all batteries are the same, consider this. When monitoring a patient after open heart surgery, the brand of battery hospitals trust most is Duracell. Duracell, trusted everywhere. Still think all batteries are the same? Consider this. When IMAX needed power for their camera, they trusted Duracell. Up there or down here on Earth. Duracell, trusted everywhere.
Does RoboCat cough up Robo hairballs? It's metal.
but that's not the point. The chips that power Robocat are only manufactured in Palo Alto, but the assembly plant is in Tokyo.
If my girlfriend gets Robocat, would it be jealous of me?
Of you?
Yeah.
No. Now focus. They ship the chips with FedEx International Services. Get time-definite, reliable service to Tokyo. Robocat's the biggest thing that hit Japan since Godzilla.
Did I get it?
Yeah, you're fine.
The totally redesigned 2003 Ford Expedition. Now you can achieve maximum inner space within seconds. With exclusive powerful third-row seats. Whoa. That fold flat at the touch of a button. The totally redesigned 2003 Ford Expedition. It has no equal.
How far would you go?
How can you do that?
To uncover the truth.
What is with you and all these secrets, Dad? Who's after my father?
What the hell are you doing?
This father and son will stop at nothing, no matter what the cost. Veritas, The Quest, Monday, January 27th on ABC.
Aerial coverage provided by Budweiser. Of course, this is the home of Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. And finally, the Rams have the ball with 2:49 to play in the quarter. Scott Covington's first play as a Ram is a handoff to Marshall Faulk up to the 38. And here is the Rams starting offense.
Scott Covington, Miami.
Marshall Faulk, San Diego State University. James Hodgins, San Jose State.
Isaac Bruce, Memphis.
Big game, Torrey Holt, North Carolina State.
Ernie Conwell, Washington.
Orlando Pace, The Ohio State University.
Keith Irwin, Colorado.
Andy McCullum, Toledo.
Adam Timmerman, South Dakota State.
John St. Clair, Virginia.
And so Covington now, who was waived by the Bengals, 2nd down and 3. Again, it's on the ground, and they give it to Marshall Faulk, and he gets tackled from behind by Derek Smith, the middle linebacker. And here's the San Francisco defense.
Chikezie O'Keefe, Purdue.
Brian Young, Notre Dame.
Dana Stubblefield, Kansas.
Andre Carter, California. Julian Peterson, Michigan State.
Derek Smith, Arizona State. Jeff Olbrich, Hawaii. Ahmed Plummer, Ohio State.
John Keith, Furman.
Tony Parrish, Washington. Jason Webster, Texas A&M.
49er defense. They'll get Zach Bronson, their starting safety, back next week for the playoffs. And the first pass is caught by Isaac Bruce out in the flat up at the 45-yard line, and that's Plummer making the tackle.
And I'll tell you, that's big for Scott Covington. You know, you always want that first one to be a good one. You know, you want to get off to a good start. And I think that's why you just have him come back here, 3-step drop, little play pass, get the ball out of there quickly. Because he does do that. I mean, he does get the ball out of there quickly, and he has, again, great velocity, and he's very, very accurate. This guy has an arm. You know, Mike Martz was saying that Bulger has a great arm, but he said Covington's arm is stronger than Bulger's.
2nd and 7. And this is Covington showing us that arm, and it's a little too strong there. Overthrowing Holt. Covington picked by the Bengals in the 7th round in '99. Played at Miami, played in the same backfield with Edgerrin James. Threw 5 passes for the Bengals in '99, none in 2000, none last year, released this year. Lives in Southern California, grew up out there, matriculated to Miami. And he said, you know, Mike Martz worked me out, looked at me when Mike was ready for the draft, getting ready for the draft in '99, remembered me, gave me a call.
In fact, he thought originally he was going to come to the Rams.
Martz wanted him to come to the Rams. He said Cincinnati just got there ahead of him in the 7th round. Contact up front.
When Martz said that, I was going to say to him, you should have taken him in the 6th round.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Meanwhile, you got 2 guys there in street clothes. On the right, of course, is Kurt Warner. All he was the MVP of the league last year, Super Bowl MVP in '99. On the left, Mark Bulger, who electrified this town with 6 wins in Warner's absence, but last week hurt his back in Seattle, 4th play of the game, so he came out. Jamie Martin's the other quarterback. He has a bad knee. He's the backup tonight, and Marshall Faulk is number 3. And then as Covington goes down back to the 32-yard line, the ball is loose. but recovered by Adam Timmerman.
You know, those are the things that don't happen in practice. You know, all practice is like where you don't touch a quarterback and you don't get around a quarterback and those types of things. And this just collapses on Scott Covington here. See the pressure they have. They have a 5-man rush. They have a stunt in the middle. They get to push straight up the middle. Covington goes to step up. Then he feels the press. Watch, here's Andre Carter coming from the outside. I tell you, that's going to be a heck of a battle. Orlando Pace, one of the best offensive tackles in football, against Andre Carter.
Mitch Berger to punt on what will be the final play of the period. Cedric Wilson from the 26. And he's taken down up near the 35-yard line as we reach the end of the first quarter. 3-0. San Francisco, and Monday Night Football resumes after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, come on. Catch the ball before you run with it. Let's
Basketball
go.
101. Basketball 101.
Touch somebody. Touch somebody now.
Oh, what are you doing? There you go. Just like we drew it up. Angled up with room.
Stay in the lane. Stay in the lane.
Body on somebody.
Knock him down. Get out of the crease. No, just hit somebody. No, go.
It's a disgrace. They ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
So 20 seconds left. Garcia looks left.
He's got this weak side blitz coming, right? Takes a snap. Takes a 3-step drop.
Bunch of big guys trying to kill him.
Dodges this one safety. Ducks under this tackle.
Launches this awkward, just swirly looking.
Prayer to the corner of the end zone.
Right into the hand of
J.J. Stokes. Touchdown.
Touchdown!
Should have been there.
Should have been there.
You should have been there.
If you want to be there, bring your Visa card, because you can't buy 49er tickets at 3Com Park with American Express.
You should have been there.
The road to the Super Bowl begins on ABC with an NFL Wildcard Saturday doubleheader. Manning versus Pennington, Vick versus Favre. It's win or go home. Colts, Jets, Falcons, Packers. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern.
Everybody's got a little Jeep adventure in them. So you'd better hurry to your Jeep dealer, because they want to make this a record-breaking month. Now's a great time to get a Jeep Grand Cherokee with all these great offers. 0% APR financing for 60 months. No monthly payments for 90 days. Plus the protection of a 770 powertrain limited warranty. So get to your Jeep dealer for this factory-authorized opportunity before January 2nd and find the Jeep adventure in you. Check one out today.
WZZM 13's Morning News.
A half hour earlier, January 6th.
Garcia primed for the playoffs. 2 out of 3 through the air tonight. Rushed a couple of times for 16 yards. Executed that long drive over 12 minutes, and he can get ready for the New York Giants on Sunday at Candlestick. So Tim Rattay now comes in. His backup, Kevin Barlow, is the running back in this set from the 37-yard line. And the first play of the period is a pass caught up at the 42-yard line for a gain of 5 by Justin Swift. This is the final game of the regular season. Playoff action, and we have it on Saturday. Doubleheader. The New York Stock Exchange pregame show at 4. And then the first game coming your way, Indianapolis against the Jets from the Meadowlands at 4:30. And then John and I will be in Green Bay on Saturday night. Michael Vick and the Atlanta Falcons coming in. Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers. Brent Musburger, Gary Danielson will be at the Meadowlands. It should be a great Saturday here on ABC. 2nd and 4 from the 44-yard line. Barlow swings to the outside, deep into Ram territory, finally forced out of bounds at the 22-yard line.
You know, either it's great running by the 49er running backs, or it's poor defense by the Ram defense of not having containment nor tackling. And those things have to drive you crazy. But watch it here. They all get bunched in here. You see, and then Barlow can just take the ball, bounce it to the outside. Adam Archuleta was the outside guy. He has to make that play. He gets caught inside. Barlow sees them all bunched up inside, and there's nothing out there.
35-yard gain for the second-year guy out of Pitt. 1st and 10 from the 22. Rattay, they set up a screen, and Beasley is able to get a block and pick up 9. Beasley was able to pick up a block, and that was able to spring him.
And that was a block by his center, Jeremy Newberry. You know, we talked about Newberry and what a great job they're doing inside in this 49er offense, but he was the guy that got out there. He has to in a screen. Watch Newberry right here. He's going to let the line come out. Then he comes right down the line to make that block. It's his screen. You let him, you invite him up the field, then you go down the line, pick off your guy right there. Just as he's ready to make that tackle, boom, Newberry just picked him off.
2nd and 1. Split back set, give it to Hurst. Breaks through over right guard and takes it to the 2 to make it 1st down and goal.
I think Garrison Hurst is going to get those yards tonight.
Yeah, I said he wouldn't, thinking that he wouldn't play that much, but he's already picked up 42. Came into the game with 9:05, so he needs only 53 more now.
Yeah, we just showed Jeremy Newberry blocking on that screen. Watch him here. I mean, he blocks 2 guys. He starts off in Scanina, gets that little push there, then comes up in the linebacker. You see right there, and then up on Jamie Duncan. That's pretty good when you can get 2 at the point of attack.
Barlow is the back, and that was Matt Willig moving, the left tackle.
Start offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Oh, Matt Willig, he's an old workhorse. He just goes from team to team, and he's backup every place, and he can play guard and he can play tackle. And in fact, they're starting him tonight at left tackle in place of Derek Deese. Then later he's going to move to right guard, and they're going to put Kyle Kozer out there at the left tackle to see if he can be a tackle.
6'8", 315.
He's a big man.
Hard to hide him. 1st and goal. Here's Rattay. And it's juggled and it's caught at the 4-yard line. That's Ty Streets, who has emerged this year. The Streets had been their 3rd receiver. He's moved up the chart right now, and that's his 68th catch of the season.
You know, it's interesting now with Tim Rattay in there. He's a 7th-round draft choice. He's being protected by his 2 guards that are 7th-round draft choices. So that's been a pretty good round for this 49er team.
There's Ron Stone. He's hurt, but he figures to play next week. You know, you contrast that like we saw Pittsburgh last week with 4 number 1s and a number 2 up front. 2nd and goal. So this bargain basement line has done the job. They've done it so well as Barlow takes it to the 2 that in only 1 game this season have the 49ers not gained 100 yards on the ground.
I liked Eric Heitman from the get-go. He was out of Stanford, and I think what happened there, they got a report on him that he had a bad back. And then they went and they said, we want to check your back after the draft. He said, there's nothing wrong with my back. And then it was something, you know, how those reports do get out there sometimes. He's probably a guy that should have been drafted a heck of a lot higher than the 7th round.
You mean there's misinformation out there?
Yes, a lot of it.
3rd down and goal from the 2. Caught, touchdown. So Rattay and Streets pay off. And Rattay 4 for 4 on that drive. And Lovie Smith's defense has been out on the field a long time, and they've given up a field goal, a touchdown, and the extra point to come.
Watch Ty Streets here. He's going to come in motion. You see him come across the formation, started off in the left, ends up over in the right, can't go forward till the ball snap, and he just comes in there. It's a zone defense down there. He just finds a hole in the zone, in the end zone.
Tim Rattay throwing the 1st touchdown pass of his career. Jeff Chandler for the point after. Rattay's 7th-round pick in 2000, and the 49ers looking primed for postseason. Lead 10-0.
With its new available Power Stroke diesel and 5-speed automatic torque shift transmission that generates 560 pound-feet of torque and 325 horsepower, the Ford F-Series Super Duty pulls faster and easier than any other diesel pickup. Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck on the planet.
Well, guess that settles that.
Yep.
It's built Ford tough.
1 week before his wedding, Paul has survived the in-laws.
You want a bachelor party? It's...
And the ex-boyfriend.
Hey! You messed with my girl, Cupcake. What? It just takes...
But will he survive?
Tiki girl!
take a chance.
Falling for someone else.
She's beautiful. She's funny.
Oh, I love this hill. Just trust me.
A guy thing.
It was fun.
Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, January 17th in theaters everywhere.
You know what 5 seconds is? It's 5 seconds. You can't do anything in 5 seconds. Change a light bulb, 2 minutes if you're flying. Put your shoes on, 39 seconds at best. But that was in the time, before the playoffs, before 5 seconds became an eternity. Aikman to Irvin, Warner to Bruce, 5 seconds. Now people care more about 5 seconds than their dogs. Giving somebody 5 seconds of your time makes you a better person. That's how big the playoffs are. They took 5 seconds and created 5 seconds.
Penn State and Auburn, two of college football's great programs, meet for just the second time ever. The Capital One Bowl, New Year's Day, 1 Eastern on ABC.
The NBA on ABC this Saturday. Allen Iverson and the Philadelphia 76ers move to Dallas to face the Dallas Mavericks. So Larry Brown's gang going to Texas. Sixers and the Mavericks Saturday, 1 Eastern, 10 in the morning Pacific. Right here on ABC.
Mike Martz was saying yesterday that he was going.
Run back by Troy Edwards up to the 21-yard line. And that's where the Rams will get it for the second time tonight. Only the second time. 4.5 minutes having gone by in the second quarter.
Ever notice how many Ford trucks you see out there? Is it because they're so tough? Is it payload, horsepower, towing, their off-road capabilities, the Triton engines, lasting durability? Or is it all those things that have made Ford F-Series the best-selling truck for 25 straight years? Leadership has no boundaries when you're built Ford tough.
Which are your colors? What brightens up your day? What is your passion? What puts a smile on your face? Laughter is the music of the soul. It's your way of telling the world you can be happy, that you live in full color. Being true to yourself is what you really enjoy. Be you. Budweiser. True.
Welcome back to Shrine Auditorium. Oh no, look at these two. That is quite a dress. I could never wear that color, but wait, what's going on? Who's that? Girl, that is fly. Those throwbacks are classic.
Man, thought we was going to the game. Get it, we here now.
I'm feeling that fitted cap.
Word to your mother.
And word to your father. I think word to the whole family. Call it back, shorty.
Cameron Diaz, Al Pacino, the network premiere any given Sunday next Monday.
No, Sunday.
No, Monday.
When? Sunday?
No, next Monday at 8, 7 Central on ABC.
New Year's Day, Tournament of Roses Parade and the Capital One Bowl at 1 Eastern. That's Penn State against Auburn. Washington State against Oklahoma. Rose Bowl presented by PlayStation 2. Nokia Sugar Bowl in prime time that night. Georgia, Florida State from New Orleans. All coming your way on New Year's Day. 1st and 10 now for the Rams at the 21-yard line. Covington hands the ball to Falk. Has not been a particularly memorable year for Marshall, who's been hurt and an ankle sprain, has missed a lot of time, but is the kind of guy, John, that's going to, if this team is going to come back next year, he will be very much at the forefront.
Well, and he's such a great player, and I think that, you know, when they started out 0-5, and then I really felt that he pulled the team up, you know, not by himself, but he was the guy that pulled the team up to go 5-0, and then he got the injuries, and Marshall Falk has so much talent and equally as much pride.
And Covington's going to get sacked by Derek Smith. Well, so far, Covington not quite playing the way he practiced last week.
No, or not having an opportunity there. But don't you get the feeling that the 49ers are getting ready for a playoff game and the Rams are getting ready to go home?
You do.
I mean, this just isn't being sharp. I mean, you have to pick up blitzes. You have to pick up stunts. You have to know that you can't let a free blitzer come any place except the outside guy.
3rd down and 19 now. They're backed up to the 11-yard line. Covington running for his life and has to throw it away, and that's incomplete. There's a flag down.
And that guy chasing him is Bryant Young, one of the better defensive tackles in the game.
Personal foul against San Francisco.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 94. Head slap. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Dana Stubblefield.
Yep, that's the old head slap. You know, that's the way in the years of Deacon Jones and that fearsome foursome and the Rams, that was the way that you rushed the passer. You would slap him in the head one way, and then you would go the other way. Let's see if we can see Dana Stubblefield. He's right there. There's the head. Oh, that's a pretty good club. You know, you can do that if you club them on the shoulder. So when they couldn't do the head slap anymore, they started aiming for the shoulder to get him turned. And if your hand goes up a little, whap, you're on his helmet.
Well, that was reminiscent of the old Ram Deacon. Now Covington airing it out, and it's incomplete. He was trying to get it into the arms of Torrey Holt. Crowd wants a flag, but there is none, and John Keith provides the coverage. And Holt is shaken up.
This is a thing that Scott Covington can do. I mean, he has plenty of arm, and he can get it out there. Although this one was, we don't know where it is because they both fell down, and that's the old thing that they don't call a penalty anymore. Remember, they used to call that for tripping and those kinds of things, and now if they get tangled up, they just say it's incidental.
Holt was holding his elbow. They work on him, and timeout is called by St. Louis.
After an incomplete pass, they turn it to the run. First down here at the Baltimore 23. Empty backfield as they look to spread the defense. The blitz is coming. Bust out. Throws on the run to the back of the end zone. Touchdown!
Pepsi and Lay's, official sponsors of the NFL.
A mysterious stranger out to avenge his father's murder will become a hero in the movie critics are calling the year's most thrilling entertainment. Now it's been nominated for 5 Golden Globe Awards, including Best Picture of the Year, Gangs of New York, rated R, now playing.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final bidding. From A to Z, from there to here, I shop the world, all while I'm sitting brand new and collectibles, thank you, on the information superhighway. You'll save more and find things like this when you do it eBay.
Now, on a special edition DVD, Barbershop, jam-packed with over 2 hours of bonus features, including bloopers and outtakes.
When he get through, his face gonna be real smooth like Gary Coleman.
Barbershop, buy or rent it Wednesday.
Are you the greatest football fan in America? Then prove it, and you could win a trip to the Super Bowl. It's the Greatest Football Fan in America contest. Watch Good Morning America tomorrow for details.
The season ending, the regular season ending here tonight, with the Rams ending their year period. The 49ers going home after the game, hosting the New York Giants in San Francisco on Sunday in a wild card game. From the 26-yard line, they work the end around here, and this is Troy Edwards, who doesn't like one end and likes the other end even less. Edwards coming over from Pittsburgh and has really developed, and Mike Martz very happy with his progress.
Yeah, well, you know, the guy that they tried to get was Terrence Wilkins. They thought that he was going to be the 3rd or 4th wide receiver, and he kind of failed. But then they got Troy Edwards, and he was the guy that they were looking for, the speed guy that could take Oz Hakim's place. And on that, you know, wide receivers aren't used to running, although I know that Edwards was a running back at one time in high school. But once there's nothing there, you just take it and just go down. I mean, you don't start going backwards and around the other way, and that's the thing that they just learned from experience.
Nothing there but about 5 white shirts on that play. 3rd and 18. Pass caught up at the 22-yard line by Isaac Bruce, and they'll have to punt, and we check in with Melissa.
Al, a couple of injury updates for the Rams. Wide receiver Torrey Holt, their leading receiver, just went into the locker room to get x-rays. He has a sprained left elbow. We'll keep you posted on those results. And their starting defensive tackle, Ryan Pickett, their first-round draft choice last year out of Ohio State, has a right thigh bruise, but he is expected to return.
All right, so Holt is out of the lineup. Torrey big play Holt, as he loves to refer to himself.
And that was that deep pass that he was going for and fell down. He fell right on his elbow.
Cedric Wilson takes the Mitch Berger punt. And that's good coverage by the Rams. And the crowd gives them a little bit of a mock cheer here because their punt coverage this season, their kickoff coverage, has been pretty bad. 7.5 to go in the first half. 10-0 San Francisco.
Hey, are you ready for an unbelievable experience? Yeah, you're going where there is no up or down. Introducing Mach 3 Turbo. Total comfort, whether you shave down or up. An anti-friction coating on all 3 blades. Plus a strip with more lubrication, so even against the grain, you get less irritation and the closest shave. Can your razor do this? Mach 3 Turbo. From Gillette, the best a man can get.
Introducing the new 215 horsepower Chrysler PT Turbo.
You really think Bionic Woman would beat the $6 million man in a foot race? She was smaller, so she's more aerodynamic.
With a Trog manual transmission.
He was $6 million. Now what was she? 3, 4.5 tops?
Guys, it was a TV show. They're not real.
What if they had a kid? That'd be one fast kid.
PT Turbo. It'll really have you thinking fast. Now, for a limited time, choose one of 3 $500 Sony personal entertainment packages when you buy any new PT Cruiser.
This is how high Dwight Clark jumped to make the catch.
Caught by Clark. Clark got a touchdown.
Well, coming up, the NYSE pregame show Saturday at 4 Eastern time, and then game 1, Colts Jets, Indy against New York, 4:30 Eastern time Saturday afternoon, and then at night Falcons Packers from Green Bay, 8 Eastern time, wild card weekend right here on ABC. From the 36-yard line, Tim Rattay on first down, hands the ball off to Garrison Hurst. Let's take a look right now at the NFC playoff picture. Philadelphia, despite losing to the Giants the other day and apparently on their way to the 2 seed, gets a break yesterday when Green Bay loses. So Philly 1, Tampa Bay 2, they're off. Then Green Bay drops to 3. San Fran 4, Giants and Atlanta. There are the wild card games. Atlanta, Green Bay, the Giants against the 49ers. If all goes according to Hoyle, and let's say the Giants go into San Francisco and lose, and Green Bay wins, as the pass is not caught by Ty Streets, then Philadelphia would take on the lowest seeded survivor, which would be the 49ers in the next round. It would be San Fran at Philadelphia, and then it would be Green Bay going to Tampa Bay. But you know, you talk about all of those incredible games yesterday, John. Nobody paid, I think, a bigger price, you know, apart from the teams that dropped out of the playoffs, than the Packers, who go from 2 games in Lambeau to 1 in Lambeau and then 2 on the road.
Yeah, because Lambeau is such a big thing for them. I mean, they've never lost a playoff game there, and then if they were going to get that thing throughout, they were, you know, as close to a free walk to the Super Bowl as you could get.
3rd and 8, and that pass is incomplete, and Streets gets whacked by Dre Bly, Captain Bly.
But it's going to be fun going to Green Bay on Saturday night, though. I mean, you know, I always, you know, Lambeau Field, and you go down Lombardi Avenue, and there's something that just means pro football. I mean, that hit there means pro football, too, as Dre Bly just unloads on Ty Street.
I looked at the forecast. Not terrible. High 20s, possible light snow showers.
Well, is there a tundra there or not?
I don't know.
And if there is, will it be frozen or not?
It's a frozen something.
It's the only time you ever hear that word anymore is with the Green Bay Packers, Lambeau Field, tundra.
Right. There's no tundra here. Dre Bly was shaken up on the last play. LaFleur's punt is a poor one. And it's 10-0 San Francisco.
Congratulations! You've launched the pink slip virus. Your office is now infected. They'll soon trace it back to you. Good luck finding a new job. Congratulations!
Want to get away? Now you can. Fly Southwest Airlines for just $39 to $99 each way when you purchase by January 20th.
You are now free to move about the country.
Chrysler invites you to preview our holiday collection, featuring our best-selling collection of minivans, now with a special holiday bonus. Now choose one of 3 Sony personal entertainment packages when you buy any new Town & Country minivan. Plus, get 0% financing for 60 months on select minivans. Or choose cash allowances up to $3,500. But hurry, this invitation ends January 2nd, so see your Chrysler dealer today.
This New Year's Eve, drop in on ABC's Comedy Celebration.
I so want to go.
Here's how John handles his girls getting a New Year's kiss.
How about a little sugar?
Here's a candy bar. Jim's getting crazy with Dan Aykroyd.
I am a crazy guy. Don't you steal wool on the Teflon, it'll scratch.
Bonnie's family is getting the house ready for their guests. Claude's bringing you surprise party favors. Bring in the new year.
It's party time.
Tuesday starting at 8/7 Central on ABC. It's ABC's Sizzling Wednesday. 25 guys, 1 girl. No holds barred.
It'll be a fight to the finish.
The Bachelorette premieres Wednesday, January 8th, 9/8 Central on ABC.
Well, the Rams are going to make a quarterback switch, and they go to Jamie Martin, who has started a couple of games this year, was the number 2 quarterback when the season began, and Bolger was number 3. And it was Martin who actually took over when Warner got hurt early in the year. So Covington, at least for the moment, turns the cap backward. 2 out of 4 for 7 yards. And Jamie Martin, who hurt his knee last week in Seattle, despite that, he's going to play here, and it begins with a false start
by Adam Timmerman, who probably leads all pro football in false starts.
False start, offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Quarterback switch. Melissa, what do you know from that bench area?
Well, Al, apparently the reason why they did it, Scott Covington, when they were calling in plays from the sideline, he was very confused. A couple of times he even said, "What's that?" Not exactly the type of situation you want to be in.
Probably thinking of the Bengal playbook.
Well, and that was the thing that Mike Martz was worried about last night. He said, can he manage the game? You know, get the plays called, get him in and out of the huddle, and that's one of the areas that he had a problem.
Martin's pass to Falk out in the flat. Good for a yard or 2. Mike Rump, their number 1 draft choice out of Miami, makes the tackle.
You know, Jamie Martin really didn't take any snaps because Scott Covington got all the work, and Jamie Martin injured his right knee at the end of last week's game, and it's a bursa in the back, and he just couldn't bend the knee as late as yesterday. And Mike Martin said, you know, if I need him, he can get in there and play, but he hasn't practiced 1 down all week, Jamie Martin.
2nd and 16. Marshall Falk to the 37-yard line. I mean, who's next? Bob Waterfield?
No, Marshall Falk.
Oh, Marshall Falk.
That's the thing. We saw him, and as I said, Jamie Martin didn't take any snaps in practice all week, and the only other guy that did take snaps was Marshall Falk. In fact, in the pregame warm-up today, he was taking snaps. Here's Marshall Falk right there working on his drop back. He looks like Marshall Falk, the running back. Turned the wrong way, had a reverse pivot.
Single wing, making the next Bill Kilmer. 3rd and 7. Troy Edwards stopped shy of the first. If Falk comes in, that's pretty much like, it's in a baseball game when the score is about 19-2, and then the shortstop comes in to get the last 3 outs. So you don't waste your bullpen.
Yeah, but I don't know that you would do that with a guy like Marshall Falk. I think if he had to play quarterback, I would say it would be in a shotgun, and they would just direct snap to him and let him run most of the time, and then maybe have 1 or 2 pass option type things.
Mitch Berger to punt. Wilson to the 18. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage. Against St. Louis.
I think I would make him kick again.
Back him up, he says. It's exactly what we're going to do.
Kick, holding, kicking team, number 45, 10-yard penalty, 4th down.
Chris Massey, who's the guy who snapped it.
Usually what you do is if the ball's inside the 20, you make them kick it again. Here's the holding call right there, the snapper, and right there you see he grabs with both hands. I think he's just trying to hold on. In high school, they have a rule. I'm not sure in college, but in high school, you can't can the center. And he just got canned there. I mean, the center, he has his head between his legs, and he's snapping the ball. In high school, you can't touch that guy. I don't know if in college you can or not. But I know in the pro ball and in pro football, anything goes. Once that ball snaps, that snapper is free game.
I'm calling my man Keith Jackson first thing tomorrow. I'm going to wake him up.
Well, Keith will know.
Keith will know.
Can you can the center in college football? Because I thought you could can the center in high school football, and I got in an argument with that and someone, and I was wrong. You can't can them. And that's the same guy said you can't can them in college. The only place you can can them is pro.
They pushed them all the way back that time. Massey is Berger's punt is fair caught now by Wilson at the 30-yard line. 4:26 left in the half. A half that has belonged to the playoff-bound 49ers.
Hey, Don! Hey, what's up? You going to Tommy's party? I can't. I'm working. Oh, break.
The Dodge SXTs. 4 cool cars. And you won't have to work 2 jobs just to buy one.
Don, you made it!
I like your hat.
Grab Dodge's 770 powertrain limited warranty. Ford, Chevy, and Toyota don't match it.
Go, 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 go. Touchdown. That's right, buddy. Touchdown. That's right. Oh. No, we don't say touchdown for those guys. Just the silver guys.
Touchdown!
No.
Yes!
What have you been teaching him?
That's my boy.
Pepsi and Lay's, official sponsors of the NFL.
Oh, that's right. Touchdown.
Tuesday, the critics call Life with Bonnie the best new comedy. Laugh out loud funny. Grade A. Life with Bonnie's looking good.
You look beautiful.
Oh, well, I showered.
Congratulations, Bonnie Hunt. Golden Globe nominee for Best Actress in a Comedy Series.
That's a kick in the head.
Sure, now I'm the star.
Life with Bonnie, followed by Less Than Perfect Tuesday on ABC.
I am the mole.
I am the mole.
I could be the mole. I'm always the mole.
7 celebrities will play. 1 will betray them all.
Oh, my God. I am mole-licious.
Celebrity Mole Hawaii, Wednesday, January 8th on ABC.
Damian Lewis of the Rams, and a man who will be watching his television with some interest next Friday, because he is a man who went to Miami. Ryan Pickett, of course, playing along that front, went to Ohio State, and he'll have more than a casual interest in the national championship game on ABC coming up on Friday night. Now Rattay on first down with the fake and the pass, and it's caught by J.J. Stokes, who gets dinged up at the 41. And speaking of ABC Sports Championship Television, Washington State against Oklahoma, Rose Bowl, presented by PlayStation 2, Georgia, Florida State, the Nokia Sugar Bowl. That's New Year's night at 8 Eastern time. Orange Bowl, FedEx Orange Bowl Thursday from Miami, USC against Iowa. And then the big one, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl Hurricanes, Buckeyes for the crown Friday night. ABC Sports certainly this week, in particular, championship television. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. 3:40 left in the half. Barlow untouched until he gets well into the secondary. And then Archuleta rides him down finally at the 28-yard line. Big gain for Barlow, who already has 80 yards tonight on 8 carries.
And it's amazing. It's a makeshift 49er offensive line right now. They've changed. Newberry's not in there anymore. Ben Lynch is at center. Kozar is at the left tackle. But I'll tell you, you see what's happening. These ends, outside guys are getting up the field, and they're pinning the tackles or the inside guys on the line of scrimmage, and they're creating a wide hole.
Barlow with a 35-yard carry earlier, and then a 33-yarder right here. Rotelli going deep, and it is pulled in, and a flag is thrown, and it's Ty Streets making the catch for a touchdown, and the Rams are going to say, Mariucci says, you bet. And let's see who the call's on.
I think the official called touchdown, didn't he?
He did, but the question is it offensive or defensive?
Pass interference, defense.
Touchdown.
Number 27, penalties decline, touchdown.
James Whitley, the defensive back, gets the flag, and Rote has his 2nd touchdown pass tonight.
Well, you see, it's a man-to-man, and he just gets by him, and then he gets that step originally on Whitley, and then Whitley never gains that step, and because he's 1 step behind, he had to use his hand, and then he grabbed him to bring him back.
Chandler for the point after. 17-0 San Francisco. 49ers looking very sharp as the regular season climaxes.
The all-new Dodge Ram Heavy Duties with the power of a new 5.7-liter Hemi Magnum V8 or an available high-output Cummins turbo diesel. It's the most powerful line of trucks in the universe. Make that the most powerful line of trucks on Earth. Ram Heavy Duty. Enough muscle to grab Motor Trend's 2003 Truck of the Year award.
The world is spinning round and round. It's got me up. It's got me down. I'm not sitting around. I'm not waiting. I'm not sitting.
Don't let the party start without you. Be there live in Times Square for Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Nelly, Rod Stewart, Third Eye Blind, and more. New Year's Eve starting at 10/9 Central only on ABC.
A large event is coming.
Paul Callan investigates events no one can explain.
There's no ghost.
Now he's about to uncover a secret beyond anything he had ever imagined.
Why would God do that? Who said it was God?
Ignore your fears.
Help us.
Open your eyes. Trust your heart.
I'll be right here.
Miracles, Monday, January 27th on ABC. Viewer discretion is advised.
The aerial coverage tonight provided by Budweiser. Gateway Arch on the banks of the Mississippi. Look at this. 218 yards for the 49ers tonight. 5 for the Rams. The Rams have 12 rushing yards and -7 passing.
You know, in your wildest imagination, before this season started, is there any way that you could think
Edwards up to the 21-yard line?
Well, you know, I think if you look at the Rams in the last 4 or 5 years, they've played more games than any other team. And I just have the feeling that they're just worn out. And I have the feeling that Mike Martz is worn out, that, you know, that they really never recovered from the Super Bowl loss to the Patriots.
Yeah, you look at it that way. And, you know, they had a winless preseason. And then at the beginning of the year, they couldn't get things together. And they kept saying, you know, it's going to be all right. Then Warner gets hurt. Then of all crazy things, you know, now Bolger comes in and becomes a star, but then he gets hurt.
And then they go from 0-5, then they go 5-0, and it looks like they've straightened things out. And then from that point on, I don't know that I've ever seen a team sink this quickly.
Torrey Holt is back in the game, and it's Marshall Faulk on a screen. You know, the one thing though, John, if a team goes from, you know, really great to bad, as the Rams have, they still have a lot of great players. There's no question about it. If Warner comes back healthy, and Marshall Faulk is the Marshall Faulk next year, and they get a couple of changes made defensively, they're still going to be considered a primary contender again.
Yeah, but I asked the question, why can some teams have injuries and have the best record in professional football? The Philadelphia Eagles. Why can the Green Bay Packers have a lot of injuries and be in the playoffs? These guys have a lot of injuries, and they're not.
Well, there's Orlando Pace, and he's been injured. He's missed some games and came back to play tonight. That's one of the problems.
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, Orlando Pace is you know, one of the best offensive tackles in football, and then on the other end, they don't have a good tackle. I mean, John St. Clair has been a problem for them all year. Here's Orlando Pace right up here on top. You see he's picking up a stunt, and that happens so often. You know, we see where he's blocking and he gets rolled up upon from behind.
Marshall Faulk now up to the 26. You know, there are a lot of theories about the Rams. You know, one line of reasoning might be, well, you know what? They led the league in turnovers this year. That's the problem. But then you go back to last year. They led the league in turnovers last year, and were favored to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I just think that they're you know, like an old shirt or something that you wear too long, it gets a hole in it, it gets worn out.
Yep.
I think they're worn out.
I've got a few of those. 2-minute warning.
I don't think there was a question of whether we were getting good advice or not from our old broker. We weren't getting advice.
Our old broker would call us up whispering about some new hot stock tip.
I don't think I ever made a dime on any stock tip that any broker ever gave me.
My old broker, unless I called him, he would never call me.
For a lot of years, I just tolerated that type of treatment, and then I decided I would move my money to Schwab.
This year, investors moved more than $30 billion to Charles Schwab.
I think Charles Schwab's actually almost the opposite of a Wall Street firm.
I call up and the man is there, and it makes me feel so great.
When I ask a question, they don't give me jargon. They just give me an answer that I can understand.
There's absolutely no pressure to trade, to sell.
I have no regrets whatsoever about moving my money from my old broker over to Schwab.
I think they just get it.
Come see why there's never been a better time for Charles Schwab. Call 1-800-4-SCHWAB or log on to schwab.com.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, FedEx guy.
Let's get to work.
So it can store up to 1,000 addresses. It lets you print labels and find a drop box. It can email you when the package has been delivered and more. FedEx.com is just like having your own FedEx guy.
Hey.
Yeah?
Kind of freaked me out, man.
Cap off your New Year's Day with a battle in the Big Easy. Georgia faces Florida State at the No-Kiss Sugar Bowl. New Year's Day in primetime on ABC.
Toyota halftime show coming up very shortly. National championship preview. The big one between Miami and Ohio State. And we will be visiting with a couple of guys who applied their college trade at those schools. Also a preview look at a season on the bus, which was coming up in January. A little look at what goes on the road with the Madden Cruiser. But Ray Lewis and Eddie George are going to be along to visit with us about the college game, about the national championship game. We'll talk to them at the half. 3rd down and 5 now. Screen is set up as Jamie Martin throws over the middle and incomplete, intended for Edwards.
You know, it's funny how big that is to these players. I remember when I was coaching, the topic of conversation every Sunday morning at the pregame meal was always what their college did the day before. It was, you know, I mean, to win, you get the bragging rights. You lose, you have to take it from the other guys. Well, Scott Covington didn't do what he thought he was going to do. I mean, I will say this, and I said it before, he looked great in practice, and talking to him, he had a heck of a lot of confidence coming in.
Mitch Berger Cedric Wilson takes the punt at the 24 and gets whacked by Don Davis up at the 33. Monday Night Football from St. Louis being brought to you by Michelob Light, the beer with a smooth taste and a nice finish. Charles Schwab, there's never been a better time for Charles Schwab. Gillette Mach 3 Turbo for the closest shave with less irritation, even against the grain. And a Chrysler, drive equals love. Melissa, what you got?
Alan, injury update on four-time Pro Bowl left tackle Orlando Pace, who came into the game with a hamstring injury, missed the last 3 games. He has a sprained right knee. They took him inside of the locker room for evaluation. Hopefully we'll have an update in the second half.
Okay, thank you. You know, Melissa's playing hurt tonight. I mean, her throat's bothering her, and she's made a little comeback today. We had her almost doubtful yesterday, and then questionable, you know, earlier, and now she's probable and clearly, you know, in the game.
Oh yeah, she's made a big comeback. Heck, she's fine. She's ready to go. She doesn't have to have an MRI or anything.
She's toughing it out. We may put her on the horse trailer. Speaking of the horse trailer, which we've been doing all year long, there it is. It travels the country tonight. How about a stud performance? We go back to Invesco Field in Denver in November. Rich Gannon, Jerry Rice, and that's when the Raiders turned their season around. Came in with a 4-game losing streak and rolled on from there to the first seed in the AFC, and there they were, Gannon and Rice traversing the continent.
Going through all kinds of weather too on their traverse.
That's right. Never forget Jerry saying, I have to wind up on that trailer.
Well, you know, the funny thing about that game is Rod Woodson had that big play, and he was upset that he didn't make the trailer.
Yeah, that pass is incomplete. Well, speaking of Rod Woodson, who only had 8 interceptions this year to wind up tied for the league lead, should have been, could have been. This was the game-turning play that night. Early in the game, 12th career interception return for a touchdown at 5,280 feet.
A lot of people thought that not only turned that game around, but turned that season around for the Raiders.
Huge play.
He was either calling for Earl or looking for some oxygen there.
3rd down and 6 from the 37. Rattay slings it to the outside, showing a pretty good arm there, and that has not gone out of bounds yet after being caught and then covered up by Ty Streets. But Streets had the first down, and now he doesn't, as he has to come back to recover the fumble.
And we're talking about the job this 49er offensive line has done. Kyle Kozer is now playing left tackle, Heitman left guard. Ben Lynch has moved in at center. Matt Willig has gone from left tackle to right guard, and Scott Gregg is still in there at the right tackle. So I said they've changed this line around, but they've, you know, whoever they put, wherever they put them, they've done a good job on this Ram defense.
Leo Nomolini will be starting the second half.
They may have a guy playing both ways. I remember when Leo Nomolini played and did play both ways. He played offensive and defensive tackle. The 49ers have a guy tonight that they're talking may do that, a Jerome Davis. There was a defensive player and they needed some help in their offensive line, so they've worked him in at offense, and they say that there's a distinct possibility that he could play both ways.
Bill LaFleur, who was picked up off the San Diego practice squad a few weeks ago. And that is fielded by Bly, and he's out of bounds at the 22-yard line. So coming up at the half, of course, and we'll talk about the preview. Keith Jackson's going to have a preview of the Fiesta Bowl, but outside Baltimore is Ray Lewis, and in his home in Nashville is Eddie George, and we're going to talk to those guys about what they think of the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Of course, Ray recovering now from shoulder surgery, and Eddie's going to have a week off, and then he's ready for action in Nashville in the second round of the playoffs.
And all his teammates are ready for action in Nashville. They kind of sneaked up on everyone, I think. In the middle of the season, they kind of forgot that they were even in the league, and boy, did they come on.
Yep, the 2 seed. That's Ricky Kroll, the intended receivers. The Rams tonight are -9 in passing yardage.
It shows how tough this league is. I mean, you can't play with a fourth quarterback and a beat up offensive line, and expect to be successful against a 49er defense that coordinator Jim Mora was saying he wants them to use this game tonight to get ready for the playoff next week, not to just get through it.
So far, so good. That's Torrey Holt making the catch up at the 33 and forward progress. Should net him the first. Ahmed Plummer covering. And there's a Bronx cheer about 1,500 miles from the Bronx.
Remember when they used to have the greatest show on turf? I mean, they would have these things for touchdowns. Now they get that kind of cheer for a first down.
It's only the third first down, and one of those was on a penalty. And that's caught by Torrey Holt up at the 45-yard line for a first down.
If they keep doing that, this crowd's going to go crazy. They're going to go berserk. They're going to start jumping out of their seats. 2 first downs in a row.
First and 10 from the 45, and they'll spike it here.
The toughest score in any football is always that first one, and I think that has to be the goal here. Get in position about another 20 yards to get a shot at a field goal. You'll get something on the board.
It's Edward Jones's home here in St. Louis.
I don't think there's any moon out tonight. Did you notice that?
I didn't notice on the way in.
I don't think so. I think this is one of the nights in the year that there's none moon.
Really?
I think so. Could be wrong.
Like an ultra new moon. And that's picked off by Ronnie Hurd. And Jim Mora, the defensive coordinator, is getting exactly what he had hoped in this first half. A pretty flawless performance as they are ready to face Kerry Collins, Tiki Barber, and the Giants on Sunday.
You can see here Ronnie Hurd is in a nickel situation. You see he's a free safety back there. He's just playing what they call center field, watching the quarterback all the way and getting a jump on the ball. Don't you feel that the 49er defense has been getting a lot of jumps on the Rams in this game?
On every level, they're getting jumps on the Rams. Melendez here with a kneel down. Last time the Rams had a scoreless first half at Nashville against the Titans in the middle of the '99 season in what turned out to be the Super Bowl preview that year. A great game. The Rams came from behind in the second half to make it a tight game. Tennessee won, but the Rams, of course, extracted revenge in the Super Bowl. So the halftime show coming up next after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations.
New York City, yeah! T-Rex! T-Rex! Art! Tavern on the Green! Woo! Shopping for my children! Broadway, go! Go, horse, go! Go, horse!
Everyone's a fan of New York, and now's the best time to be here. So make a plan to touch down in New York this season. Call 1-800-NYC-GUIDE or go to nycvisit.com.
This is Steve Mariucci.
Hi, Sam.
He is head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. And like many of his players, Coach Mariucci supports the United Way.
What's Japanese for a 17-syllable poem?
Haiku.
Steve is smart.
What elementary particle? Electron.
Very smart.
What boy band burst on the scene in 1999?
NSYNC.
In sync.
Tearing up my heart.
Nice work, Steve.
No?
They have Joey Harrington now. They have James Stewart now. You know, Detroit's not a bad team. All they need is like the final piece of the puzzle. I think that they ought to change their uniforms. 2003, Lions. Let's go, Barry. Come on back. You're not that old.
My name's Friday. I'm a cop.
From the creator of Law & Order, Ed O'Neill, Ethan Embry.
Read it, it's your right.
Dragnet, Sunday, February 2nd on ABC.
Everybody's got a little Jeep adventure in them. So you'd better hurry to your Jeep dealer because they want to make this a record-breaking month. Now's a great time to get a Jeep Liberty with all these great offers. 0% APR financing or $1,000 cash allowance. No monthly payments for 90 days. Plus the protection of a 770 powertrain limited warranty. So get to your Jeep dealer for this factory-authorized opportunity before January 2nd and find the Jeep adventure in you. Check one out today.
Can't get enough peanuts? Get a payday. Sweet caramel and tons of salty peanuts.
I left the truck unlocked. No, his ears were a bit bigger and the nose was longer. Next thing I knew, the truck was gone.
This him, sir?
Yeah, that's him. That's the guy.
Can't get enough peanuts? Get a payday. Sweet caramel and tons of salty peanuts.
WZZM 13's Morning News.
A half hour earlier, January 6th.
The Toyota Halftime Show, brought to you by Toyota. Get the feeling. Here now, Al Michaels.
Back in St. Louis, where it's been all San Francisco as they lead 17-0. What a week it's going to be on ABC Sports. Of course, the playoffs, the NFL playoffs beginning on Saturday. Great bowl games capped off by the national championship game next Friday in Tempe, Arizona, the Tocitos Fiesta Bowl. Here's a preview look now as we go to Keith Jackson.
Undefeated and undaunted, #1 Miami Hurricanes on the brink of back-to-back national championships. Quarterback Ken Dorsey and running back Willis McGahee have provided the mighty Hurricanes with a lethal quick strike offense that has left 34 straight opponents in their wake.
I'm not a very happy loser. I think the guys know that we're on the verge of something special.
I expect a great defense and certainly a great running back in Clorette and a very, very efficient offense. Other than that, I think we're fine.
Standing in the way of the Hurricanes' date with history, #2 Ohio State Buckeyes. The 13-0 Buckeyes armed with their own game breaker in freshman running back Maurice Clarett. The Buckeyes are thirsty for their first national championship in more than 3 decades.
Big players make big plays in big games. That's all it's going to come down to. Who's going to make the big play?
If you're going to be the national champions in 2002, you're going to have to play the Miami Hurricanes. And you know, if you come out on top there, you deserve to be the champions.
The last 2 remaining undefeated Titans face off Friday, January 3rd at 8 p.m. in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. History waits for the winner. And when the storm clears in the desert, a national champion will be crowned.
All right, Keith, thank you. And, of course, we're going to be joined now by one former Hurricane, one former Buckeye, 2 great NFL stars. Ray Lewis played at Miami between 1993 and 1995 before going to the Ravens and on to an illustrious National Football League career. Eddie George at Ohio State, 92 through 95. Won the Heisman Trophy. Now, of course, with the Tennessee Titans headed for the playoffs. And the guys are joining us right now. From Owings Mills, Maryland, Ray Lewis. From Nashville, Tennessee, we have Eddie George. Ray, let me start with you. You know what amazes me about Miami? 34 straight wins, national titles left and right. You lose guys like Jeremy Shockey and Clinton Portis, and they keep getting better. How does that happen beside the weather down there?
Well, you know what, Al? The thing is, you know, we lose so many players, and when we do lose a guy like Jeremy Shockey, we come back in and gain a guy like Kellen Winslow. And when we gain a guy like that, I mean, you really don't never fall off the stage right now. And that's what Miami has right now, stirring back in our corner right now, is we truly have that team chemistry right now, and everybody just wants to be a Hurricane right now.
Miami has won 34 games. Eddie George knows all about that. But, Eddie, of course, you come out of Ohio State, the great running back tradition. What's your take? And you've seen him, I'm sure, Maurice Clarett, the great freshman.
Well, I think it's definitely going to come down to him being able to control the game. You know, I think we should be able to run on Miami. You know, they've shown they've getting up some big yards this year. I think overall, you know, he's a great running back, but the supporting cast around him, they're going to definitely have to step up their game. You know, the receivers, the quarterbacks have to play well, and I think they're ready. I think they understand the magnitude of this game. I think it's going to be a lot better than what most people think it's going to be, and you know, I'm really excited about checking it out.
Would that help the mindset of a team to go into a national championship game, Eddie, knowing you're almost a 2-touchdown underdog? Do you take an us against the world attitude into the game?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, no one's giving us a chance to saying we can't compare to Miami's speed. I think what they're going to find surprising is how fast they are. You know, that's a young team, and but they have some veterans on the defense that I think we can pretty much stay in the game. You know, I think it's going to be a close game, and I think it's going to be a hard-fought game, and I think we're going to come out on top.
Ray Lewis, where do you rank this Hurricane team with the great teams of the 90s, some of which, of course, you played on, looking for another national championship? Where does this team stack up?
Well, I already kind of disagree with Eddie. thinking that they're going to win this national championship in Arizona on January 3rd. But this ball club right now, I mean, by far, will have the right, truly, to say that they are the best team right now. I mean, we've had great defenses come through there, and sometimes we've had great offenses. But right now, they are playing with both of them right now. And, I mean, you can't take that away from them. They won one national championship. They're in the second one right now. So I think they will have that claim to fame.
Ray, real quickly, everything okay after the shoulder surgery? You ready for next season?
Oh, Al, I mean, it's so enlightening right now that, you know, I'm feeling so good and so blessed right now, just so happy, you know, that I'm already a month ahead. You know, I really don't have my brace on my shoulder now. I can pretty much control it myself, and I'm really looking forward to next season. A lot of good things are going to happen.
Eddie, real quickly, the Titans, your thoughts going into the playoffs?
Right now, we're going to rest up. We got a week off. You know, I think we have a great chance now that Baltimore's not in it. And, you know, I'm just really excited about it. Steve's going to get healthy. Javon's going to get healthy. And we're going to see who we play after the weekend.
All right, Eddie, good luck to you. Ray, we'll see you next year. And, guys, enjoy the game next Friday night. Ray Lewis and Eddie George joining us at halftime. Back we come to St. Louis after this.
Once a year. Toyotathon 03. This year-end tradition features the #1 selling car, Camry. IntelliChoice calls it an excellent value. And the all-new V8 4Runner. Larger, more powerful, more SUV for your money. Only your Toyota dealers have the quality, selection, and values you've waited for all year. Toyotathon 03. Don't miss it.
ABC Sports Championship Television presents the Bowl Championship Series. On New Year's Day, Washington State faces Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl game presented by PlayStation 2. Then Georgia takes on Florida State in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. January 2nd, Heisman Trophy winner Carson Palmer leads USC against Iowa in the FedEx Orange Bowl. And on January 3rd, #1 Miami battles #2 Ohio State for the national championship in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. The BCS only on ABC Sports.
Halftime in St. Louis, where the 49ers are leading the Rams 17-0. We'll be in San Diego at the end of January for the Super Bowl. And we've got a great show coming your way the day before as we go on the ultimate road trip. The ultimate road show. Heading down the highway on the Madden Cruiser.
Looking for adventure and whatever comes our way.
See this spot right here, this white stuff? That's where Franco caught the ball. This is Three River Stadium right here, the old Three River Stadium. This is a field. Franco picks it up here, runs it right down the sideline.
My passion only relies, honestly, on my mom. I know if we're home, she's in my box, and if we're away, she's in front of a TV.
His motivation is his mom. He says that he knows that his mom is watching every move that he makes.
Here's your jackets for the 500 game, greatest show on earth.
Is the bus here?
Freddie and I love that show. You kidding me?
Saturday, January 25th, a season on the bus. Down the road on the Madden Cruiser, right here on ABC.
It only happens once a year. Toyotathon 03. This year-end tradition features incredible values like 0% APR financing on the roomy Sienna or 0% financing on the rugged and powerful Tundra. But hurry, 0% financing is available for a limited time only. Your Toyota dealer is the only place you can get this kind of feeling. Toyotathon 03. Don't miss it.
The Toyota Halftime Show, brought to you by Toyota. Get the feeling. We'll be back with the second half kickoff after this from our ABC stations.
ABC Sunday. Golden Globe nominee Jennifer Garner is on a new alias. When a friend is in need, he will be tortured. Of a rescue. Sydney Bristow holds nothing back. Even when there's no way out. Operation Friend in Need on a new alias. Sunday followed by the practice on ABC.
Tonight after the game, Governor Engler has made his decision on the Allegan Casino. The decision not to make one. Anchor Kim Covington was in Allegan tonight, and he'll bring us reaction from both sides of the gambling world. Plus, the letter written by Patrick Gleason to the media may give insight into the man's mental state. We'll have expert analysis and reaction from the family of the woman he's charged with murdering. Plus, a body is found in the Grand River this morning. The very latest on the investigation coming up after the game.
Chrysler invites you to preview our holiday collection, featuring the head-turning PT Cruiser, now with a special holiday bonus. Now choose one of 3 Sony personal entertainment packages when you buy any new PT Cruiser. Plus, get 0% financing for 36 months. Or choose a generous $1,500 cash allowance on select models. But hurry, this invitation ends January 2nd. So see your Chrysler dealer today.
An evening in front of the fire can be so relaxing, but there could be danger hiding right in your fireplace. Every year, there are thousands of reported chimney fires in North America. Help protect your home and family with StL, the chimney sweeping log. It treats your chimney while it burns. Each time you use your wood stove or fireplace, there's a constant buildup of dangerous tar and creosote inside your chimney walls. Both are flammable and could cause a chimney fire. While StL burns like a regular fire log, its active minerals are released and will start to dry out and reduce those dangerous deposits, making your next fire safer. Some of this dry, brittle material may simply flake off and fall back down your chimney. You've probably been meaning to clean your chimney. With StL, you found the easiest and fastest way to start. It's so easy. Burn just once every 60 fires and attack that creosote buildup. Make your next fire a chimney sweeping log fire and treat your chimney while you enjoy your wood stove or fireplace. Look for the chimney sweep on the box.
StL is available at all Meijer, participating Ace, Do It Best, and True Value Hardware.
WZZM 13's Morning News.
A half hour earlier, January 6th.
The new year, a little bit more than 24 hours away as we start the third quarter. In the 2002 regular season tonight, 49ers to kick it off. Sent into Trump candidate's arms, and he's going to hand the ball off to Troy Edwards, and that doesn't work. Stopped at the 14, and it's going to work from Melissa.
Rams quarterback Scott Covington threw for just 7 yards before being pulled in the first half. Mike Martz said, well, he looked great in practice, but what can I say? He was way too nervous. He was overwhelmed. He couldn't get the play call in the huddle, and I wasn't going to ruin him by playing him the entire game. Martz said to his players in the locker room, you have to live with this game for 7 months. That's the next time you put pads on, so you better come out and play. And an injury update on left tackle Orlando Pace, a possible meniscus, lateral meniscus tear. He will have an MRI tomorrow.
Number 15. I guess if you have a meniscus tear, there's no better time to do it than in the last game of the season and not going to the playoffs, to give you all the time you need to recover.
Well, you know, I don't know that the Rams can get it up this second half. I mean, Mike Martz says that you want to come out the second half and do all these types of things. The Rams, just from the get-go tonight, have looked flat. And I don't know that you can come into a game and be flat and then in the third quarter get it up. And they've just been beaten to the punch on every occasion by the 49ers, offensively and defensively.
2nd and 10. That's caught. Hodgins. Take a look at the numbers for the first half, and of course it will be dominated. The 49ers went on that 12-minute drive to open up the game, and as you can see, they're just slaughtering them in every area.
You know, the 49ers have this thing. I remember Bill Walsh used to teach it. You know, like a fighter, you know, you get off first, you get your punch off first, and you always thought that was the most important thing, to get off first. You know, be the first one, and that's what the 49ers are doing tonight to the Rams.
3rd and 7, and that pass is incomplete. And it just works out perfectly for Steve Mariucci. He comes in, he's going to play Jeff Garcia one series. So let's say it's 3 and out. That's it. So, he might as well have stayed home, in effect. Instead, he gets a 19-play series out of it, plus the field goal for the 20th play. He looks fine. He plays almost the whole quarter.
And I think that set the pace or set the tempo for the whole game thus far. I mean, they started then with Jeff Garcia on that drive, and that momentum has carried through.
Berger, beautiful kick. Deep, fielded over his shoulder by Cedric Wilson. And he gets taken down by Nick Sorensen. That was a 64-yard punt by Berger. There's Jamie Martin, and that's the Rams' night thus far.
If they ride smoother, if they handle more nimbly, if they fold easier, if they look like nothing you've ever seen before, that's because they all come from Ford. We make the best-selling line of SUVs in America.
January 8th, ABC Wednesday sizzles with 2 new big premieres. First, 25 guys, 1 girl, no holds barred.
It'll be a fight to the finish.
The Bachelorette, Wednesdays, 9/8 Central. Then, 7 celebrities willing to do anything to win big money. And 1 mole who will sabotage them all.
Stab everybody in the back, and we'll give you $1 million.
Celebrity Mole Hawaii, Wednesdays, 10/9 Central. Following the premiere of The Bachelorette. 2 hot premieres, 1 sizzling Wednesday, beginning January 8th on ABC.
The Mavs, the league's hottest team, led by high-scoring Dirk Nowitzki, take on Allen Iverson and the Sixers, Saturday at 1 Eastern. The NBA on ABC. We got hoops.
49ers tonight. Tim Rattay came on in relief of Garcia. He's been efficient. Barlow's broken off 2 long runs and has 81 total. Streets has caught 4 passes tonight, and not pictured as Garrison Hurst, who has 48 yards on 11 carries this evening. 1st and 10 for the Niners, and we give the ball to Garrison Hurst for a short game. Tim Rattay out of Louisiana Tech.
As we said earlier, Jeff Garcia kind of set the tone or the pace, and then Tim Rattay came in and he just kept everything going.
Rattay out of Louisiana Tech. Only 2 other quarterbacks in the history of the league have played there. Terry Bradshaw, of course, and the other, Mickey Slaughter, a number of years ago. And Tim was telling us last night he talks to Slaughter quite a bit. Hurst taken down up to the 35-yard line.
You know, it was interesting talking to Tim Rattay last night, and he was drafted in the 7th round, and he had all those records at Louisiana Tech and why he was drafted so late. And he said, well, there was some questions about my size, said there were some questions about my arm strength, and he said there was some questions about whether I could play or not. But you look at these records and what he did at Louisiana Tech. I mean, he was amazing.
And it's appropriate as we come up to the new year. He's renewing an old acquaintance tonight as he throws here on 1st down, and that's caught on the Rams side of the field by Ty Streets, because his primary guy at Louisiana Tech was Troy Edwards of the Rams.
And then this here is it's a good route where you just run, you just make the guys think you're going deep, and then you come back, and Rattay put it right on the money. Watch, it's a little fake. He just steps again. He has good protection inside. That the center, the 2 guards, they're forming a wall there so that he can just step up and throw the ball. But I think he's passing the test. You know, we talked earlier how Steve Mariucci says, I want to get him ready in case something happens to Jeff Garcia in the playoffs. And then for the long term, I want to find out, is this guy really an NFL quarterback? I don't think he's going to find all those answers tonight, but I think he's going to start to find some answers on Tim Rattay tonight.
I would think he'd feel pretty good about having 13 backing up 5.
Five doesn't go out of the game much.
No, he
doesn't miss a lot of plays.
He has that instinctive feel. That's why he gets sacked so infrequently. First gets taken down. Let's check in with Melissa.
Al, I asked Bill Walsh what the 49ers liked about Tim Rattay, and he said it was his exposure to the passing game. In high school, he was in a very pass-oriented offense, and you just mentioned all those records at Louisiana Tech. But Walsh felt that he had a lot of poise, that he had a good arm, and reasonably good movement. And Walsh was so excited to see him play tonight because, as John was just saying, he said it would mean so much to this organization to know that we can rely on him as our number 2 quarterback.
And it was Walsh, of course, who was the only guy in the world, seemingly, who thought Jeff Garcia could be a big-time quarterback. And here's Hurst across the 50.
And that was a big move for the 49ers, too, when they got Jeff Garcia, because, you know, they were just running out of quarterbacks. I mean, they had that great run there, Joe Montana, and then Joe Montana finishes playing, and there's Steve Young, and he finishes, and it looks like, okay, they're going to have to live like the rest of the guys. And then here comes Jeff Garcia.
Amazing. And, of course, you know, you go back, and we've talked about this in the past. I mean, all the way back to Frankie Albert and Y.A. Tittle and John Brody and all of these guys. And then you're right. Then you have the Montana and Young years. And then this guy comes out of San Jose State from the Canadian League. And he's right up at the top of the record book in a lot of categories.
Yeah, and, you know, comparable to what Joe Montana did and Steve Young did.
3rd down and 11. To Hurst, and Hurst is well shy of the 1st down, and they'll be punting. One measure of the efficiency of a quarterback is the ratio of touchdowns to interceptions, and when you look at it, Jeff Garcia has the best ratio in history, with Young 2nd and Montana 3rd. And of course, a lot of that, as the years have gone by, would speak to the difference in the passing game. The shorter, more efficient passes through the years, and that's one of the reasons you have 3 contemporary guys, 1, 2, 3.
Because passes are getting shorter and shorter and shorter every year.
Absolutely. There's Mark Bulger. We'll talk about the Ram quarterback situation and all the intrigue there when we return.
On January 17th, one security guard.
I'm a virtual one-man SWAT team. I got skills.
Is copping an attitude.
What the problem is? What the problem is? What the problem is? What the problem is?
Martin Lawrence.
You're insane! And you're resisting arrest.
National security.
Do you actually believe the crap that comes out of your mouth?
Well, I'm never really sure. Well, I'm finished talking.
Rated PG-13. In theaters January 17th.
Ford Explorer is alone at the top. It has outstanding handling and the roomiest 3rd row seat in its class, which are just a couple of the reasons it's the best-selling SUV on the planet. Ford Explorer, the leader, has no boundaries.
Whether you're shopping, traveling for business, or back at school studying, this new year your family can stay in touch thanks to Verizon Wireless. Get them the America's Choice National Family Share Plan. Now with unlimited night and weekend airtime minutes on up to 4 separate lines, so everyone can share all they want. Plus, hurry and buy one Motorola phone for $29.99 and get a second free, so you can have a family get-together whenever you want. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you.
Can you hear me now? Good.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Wild Card Saturday coming up, beginning with the New York Stock Exchange pregame show, 4 Eastern, then at 4:30 to the Meadowlands. Brent Musburger, Gary Danielson will be there as Indianapolis meets the New York Jets, and then John and I are in Green Bay for the second game between the Packers and the Atlanta Falcons. From the 17-yard line. On 1st down, Jamie Martin's pass incomplete. We saw Mark Bolger on the sidelines before. There's Warner. His record as a starter this year, 0-6. Bolger 6-1, and that one just happened to be last week when he got hurt on the 4th play of the game at Seattle. As you can see, Bolger came out of nowhere, out of West Virginia, and then as a Saints draftee, and there he is on the right. But now he's hurt. Warner, of course, his injuries, the hand injuries, the pinky first, and the broken bone in the hand. And that's why he had the year he did. As Torrey Holt takes it to the 26. And John, I would say, from everything we know, that the best case scenario for the Rams is to pay Warner the $6 million they're going to have to pay him in March to keep him, and then keep Bolger as well. You never know what's going to happen. There's some speculation you'll have to trade one or the other, but I think at the moment that's where the Rams are headed.
I think the first thing you have to do is find out if Kurt Warner's healthy, and Mike Martz said that he's going to have an MRI not only on his hand but on his elbow, on his shoulder, that whole throwing arm, just to see that he's solid, that he's okay.
3rd and 2. You saw Charlie Army as the pass is dropped by Isaac Bruce. Charlie Army, who's done such a great job building the personnel, and John Shaw is the president of the team, and they know what they've been through. They saw it. They saw the underside of it in the 90s. John hates being on television. He's a great guy, but
you ought to duck them.
I know it.
Get up and move. But you know, the thing is, I think if the assumption is that both of them are completely healthy, to me, Kurt Warner is the starting quarterback of the Rams.
I agree with you.
I mean, 2 out of the last 3 years, he was the MVP of the whole league.
He's proven it. From the 20-yard line, here's Wilson. And he brings it back to the 31-yard line. But it will be pretty fascinating when the Rams go to camp. We should book them right now for a preseason game.
Ford Focus performs as great as it looks. It's got a European tuned suspension for exceptional maneuverability and handling. That's why Automobile Magazine calls it the best small car to drive. If not the cleanest. Ford Focus.
Jim! Hey, Mikey. There's our TV, 57-inch widescreen.
I've had you on the show before. Our next guest doesn't need any introduction.
Jimmy Kimmel Live, late night starting Super Bowl Sunday on ABC.
We'll be back right after this.
New Year's Day, Tournament of Roses parade, followed by the Capital One Bowl. Nittany Lions against the Tigers. Rose Bowl, PlayStation 2 sponsoring that. Washington State, Oklahoma. Nokia Sugar Bowl, New Year's night, Georgia, Florida State. And that's coming up New Year's Day right here on ABC Sports Championship Television. Rattay throws. Nice catch made by Wilson for a first down. So Rattay doing a nice job here. And of course, when you look at a guy like Rattay, you think about the situation in St. Louis. And there is Kurt Warner, a tremendously frustrating year. And, they also, John, they can talk all they want about, Kurt doesn't have a problem this year and his shoulder is fine and his hand is fine. But when you watched him throw the ball, you knew that was not true.
No, and there was something wrong with Kurt Warner, and I don't think it was just the local hand part. I think it was something else, and it's either in the elbow or the shoulder or the entire arm.
You just don't lose it that way overnight. And he's had some, injury problems over the last couple of years, and maybe it's a cumulative effect. But when you watched him, at his very best last year, leading the league in passing yardage and touchdown passes and pass rating, the 99 season, the phenomenal year, the Super Bowl year, 2000, he was hurt, but he had some tremendous moments.
Yeah, that was just a year ago.
Sure.
A year ago, he was the MVP. So, if he's healthy, and again, that's the big if. If he's healthy, to me, he has to be the quarterback. Because you only have so much more Isaac Bruce. You only have so much more Torrey Holt. You only have so much more Marshall Faulk. What do they always call that? A window. And I think if again, if Kurt Warner is healthy, I think he has to be the guy to fit that window.
And I would think March would be thinking in those terms. So it'll be interesting to see if indeed it is some sort of open competition next year.
Yeah, he got a little upset with Kurt Warner, and he kind of said there's going to be open competition and Bulger and all those things, and something flip-flopped in there.
3rd down and 8. Marte gets hit from behind by Leonard Little, and the ball is loose, but San Francisco comes up with it.
That's one of the first plays that the defensive line of the Rams made tonight. And that was Leonard Little, who is their #1 sack guy, and he's the guy that makes their plays. I mean, if one of their defensive linemen are going to make a play, it's going to be this guy right up here on top. And you see, he just beat Scott Gregg there. Scott Gregg was trying to help to the inside. See him trying to help to the inside, gets that left hand up there, and the tackle just grabs that left arm. Tyoka Jackson grabbed the left arm, and then Scott Gregg couldn't get back outside.
Punt by LaFleur, shorty, 31-yard line. Ray Bly takes it back. So Little with a sack, but the overview, little too late. 17-0.
Change that to 6. I'm happy to meet him. Get Preeb on a plane today, okay? I need him here. I'll take the meeting, just keep it short. Well, just as long as I'm out by 7. Hang on one second. Thomas, did we get a new car?
Oh, no, sir. Your car is in for service. This is my car.
Surprise yourself with the simple elegance of the Ford Taurus. If you haven't looked at Ford lately, look again.
The holidays are here, and in the spirit of the season, Verizon Wireless lets you share time with your whole family with the America's Choice National Family Share Plan. Now get unlimited night and weekend minutes to share on up to 4 separate lines. And now you can enter our Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers sweepstakes to win an exciting trip for the whole family to New Zealand to visit where the movie was filmed. Because there should never be limits when it comes to sharing. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you. The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, now in theaters. Log on for sweepstakes details.
You lose. I win. You lose again. I win. You lose. This is getting ugly. Oh no, my batteries are dying.
Presenting our longest-lasting Energizer Max ever.
How do you like Granddad? How do you like him now?
Energizer Max. Do you have the bunny inside?
My name's Friday. I'm a cop.
From the creator of Law and Order, Ed O'Neill, and Ethan Embry.
Talk or you'll never talk again.
The Badge is back. Dragnet, ABC Sunday, February 2nd.
Along the Mississippi, aerial coverage tonight provided by Budweiser, the king of beers. Season winding down, and of course, on the last day of the season, following the last Sunday of the season, as Martin goes back to pass, and Marshall Faulk gets tackled right there by Shaw. You always know the coaching guillotine will come down, and it did today on 3 coaches. Dick LeBeau fired in Cincinnati. Tom Coughlin fired in Jacksonville after he'd guided that team from its inception. And in the move everybody expected, Dave Campo let go at Dallas after 3 seasons under Jerry Jones, and naturally now it really heats up in terms of Bill Parcells, and the feeling seems to be around the league that it's going to get done. Ernie Conwell to the 46. John, there are conflicting reports and all that, but I mean, let's cut to the nub here. It's clear that Parcells can have the job, will probably get the job, and now they just have to culminate it. And you know, he's a tough guy to get to the altar and have him say I do.
Well, that's the thing, but I think they're there. I mean, there are some people, like you say, that say it's very close, and there are other people that say that it's already done. I would believe that it's done. I mean, I would think that when Jerry Jones made that thing that he had to talk to him before the season ended so he could do something quickly. Well, if he's going to fire Dave Campo today, then he had to have Bill Parcells already, I would think.
And a toss back to Falk, and he gets taken down. Nice play behind the line of scrimmage by Webster. And, you know, those of us who do this for a living and we're inside what's happening have a pretty good pipeline, and there's not a thing I've heard from anybody I respect who says this isn't going to happen.
No, but, you know, I mean, some of those same people were saying last year that at this time that it was going to happen with Tampa Bay. In fact, it comes out now that there was a signed contract with the Buccaneers and Bill Parcells. So, you know, I don't know how far we have to get before we say it's really done.
I would bank on by the end of the week in this particular situation.
I would bank on the end of the next couple of days.
This is Martin throwing, and on 4th down, that's a first down to Ricky Prohl. You know, the funny thing is, in all of these coaching things, and you know, strangely, no real hot rumors have yet come out of Jacksonville or Cincinnati, but everybody has to parse their words. There's this obfuscation. It's like foggy bottom. It's Clinton speak. It's you never know what to believe from anybody at any time, and the tenses get changed, and they're talking in the past tense and future tense and perfect tense and all this stuff, and it's just crazy.
I think, you know, that obviously Bill Parcells is in play, and obviously he's going to go down. I think the next guy in play is Denny Green.
As Marshall Faulk takes it to the 27-yard line after the fumble.
But I also don't think they're through firing yet. I think there's probably some more to come. Jamie Martin fumbles the ball, and then it starts flopping around. Marshall Faulk, you know, I mean, I have so much respect for him. You know, talking to him yesterday, he said he wants to play, and you know, he knows that it doesn't mean anything for the Rams, but there's a game to be played, and he wants to be in it, and he wants to have fun playing in this game tonight. And I don't know that there's been any fun for him.
Nope, just for the 49ers, but well, there's a little bit of fun for the Rams as Torrey Holt gets away with one, but there's a flag down in the offensive backfield, and it's coming back.
Holding offense, number 62, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
You want to see a pass rush here? Watch Josh Shaw. He's right here. And he's going to take Adam Timmerman right here and just push him all the way back into Jamie Martin. See, and there was no way that Jamie Martin could step up. You see Shaw, he just takes off. He gets inside of Timmerman. Timmerman grabs him and tackles him so that he doesn't get to Jamie Martin.
2nd down and 15 now at the 36-yard line. Torrey Holt with another flag down in the offensive backfield again.
And that's going to be against the 49ers. That's going to be against Sean Moran for hitting Jamie Martin after he throws it.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 99, threw the quarterback down on his head. 15-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
And they were teammates last year. Sean Moran starts out, and he's going to come on a stunt. He's here, and then he's going to come to the inside. You see, and Dana Stubblefield will go to the outside. Here comes Sean Moran up to the inside. Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, he went to his head, but I don't know that Sean Moran threw him to his head. He just gets a push up the middle. I don't know. I think you have to let him play. I think that has to be a play.
1st and 10 at the 13. Martin to the corner. Unfortunately, that corner is in Ledoux. Incomplete. It's a subway.
That's the one that you throw well. You know, you've been working, you know, you hurt your elbow a little, but that corner pattern where you just throw it to that back pylon there, that's exactly where you throw them.
Our director, Drew Esikoff, is my go-to guy.
Right, and Jamie Martin didn't know that, but the thing is when you run that pattern, it's the safest pattern you can run because you're either going to put it to that 2nd pylon where it'll be caught right in front of it, or it'll be out of bounds. But there's no way that pass will be intercepted.
Jason Webster is hobbling off, and a timeout now, an injury timeout for the moment because Josh Shaw needs some extra time to get off the field, and maybe some help as well.
Shaw is the guy that got that pass rush on Adam Timmerman. And Timmerman's sake, I will say that, you know, he's a right guard, and because of the injuries, he's playing right tackle. Steve Mariucci, you know, he takes a lot of heat. I'm not exactly sure why. I think however you rank the coaches in the NFL, Steve Mariucci's in the top 10. And why they're not satisfied with the job that he does or the job that he's done with this team, honestly, I don't understand it. I don't know why or where it comes from or what they want from the guy.
It's funny, too, because he started out his career, you know, winning regularly, taking his team, as you look at Terry Donahue, the general manager, to a championship game. And then, of course, they went through the swell period after Young's career ended and they had the salary cap situation. But now they're out the other side. They went to the playoffs last year. They're going again this year. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's familiarity breeds contempt or something. 6 years in the league, and you know, you become real fair game.
Well, and he hasn't won the Super Bowl. I mean, there are those types of things, but Steve Mariucci is a heck of a coach.
2nd and 10 as the Rams spread it out. And with nobody in the backfield, that's the price you sometimes pay with no protection. And down he goes, and it's Andre Carter getting the sack.
You know, the season started this way for the Rams, where John St. Clair, their tackle, couldn't block anyone. And here he is on Andre Carter. Now, again, he's moved from the right to the left tackle. And again, Andre Carter just goes right by him. But here's St. Clair here. Here's Carter right here. The season started this way. I remember this happening in preseason. I remember this early in the season. That you know, you look at the problems the 49ers have. I will say this, John St. Clair has been one of the problems for the Rams this year.
3rd down and 18. Martin to the end zone and incomplete. Juggling act by Torrey Holt, but he couldn't come down with the ball. And they'll send in the field goal team.
So he's going to practice. That's what a wide receiver does. When you drop one, you punish yourself by catching a whole bunch more. I mean, he does exactly what he does. He has to do. He gets to the highest point, but so does Plummer.
Well, Billy Crystal may have been Mr. Saturday night, but Jeff Wilkins is Mr. Monday night. He's 16 for 16 in his career in field goal attempts, and this one from 39 yards is good. 17 for 17 under the lamps for Wilkins. 17-3.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
All season we waited, our faces are painted, the playoffs are here. It's the most wonderful time of the year. With Super Bowl dreaming and cheerleading, screaming, big blazing cold beer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Here's the playoffs. We are young, we run green, keep our team nice and clean. See our friends, see the sights, feel alright. We wake up, we go out, see our friends, see the sights, feel alright.
Want to get away? Now you can. Fly Southwest Airlines for just $39 to $99 each way when you purchase by January 20th.
You are now free to move about the country.
Monday Night Football from St. Louis being brought to you by Ford, the best-selling line of SUVs on the planet. National Security starring Martin Lawrence in theaters soon. Energizer, do you have the bunny inside? And Circuit City, we're with you.
So you told me you did ride on that arch?
Years ago, you go inside. Yeah, you go into these cars, and they sort of bump their way up, and then you get to the top, and you can look out.
And then you go around and down, or do you go back the same way you went up?
Good question. There's Webster going back to the locker room. Twisted left ankle. We'll get a report. And Wilkins is going to try an onside kick here. And it gets up to the 40 and then bounces back, and the Rams have it because the 49er touched it. O.J. Brigance comes up with the ball.
That was one thing that Mike March talked about last night, is doing an onside kick, but he was talking about doing it the starting kickoff of the game. Of course, they received. This is something that they were ready to do. He said in the kicking game he was going to pull out all stop.
Well, that's interesting. It didn't touch a 49er. Ronnie Hurd was in the neighborhood. The ball went past the 40 and then came back.
Yeah, once that's what it has to do. It has to go 10 yards. Once it goes 10 yards, then it's a free ball.
And it went past the 40 and then spun back. And they keep possession from the 38-yard line. Martin throws, caught, 45 of San Francisco by Isaac Bruce with a minute and a half to play in the third. 20 yards.
That's the thing. The guy that comes and gets the tee always has to be a hustle guy.
Yeah.
Always want, after that ball is kicked off, you always want that tee off the field as quick as possible. You know that pattern there to Isaac Bruce, that was, you know, for years. I mean, you know, we're talking about Kurt Warner and what he did. That was their bread and butter, that deep end.
It's tipped over the middle, picked off. Picked off by Tony Parrish. He's being chased by Holt. And Falk has the corner on him, and they stop him inside the 10. Flag at midfield at the 50.
You know, but there's a definition of a football player, and I'm talking about Marshall Falk. You know, you say, why is he even in this game? Because he's a pro football player and there's a game to be played. There's an interception. Who's going to chase him down and catch him? There's a guy running in the other team with the ball, and you go get him. That's instinctive. That's what a great pro does. That's the way they play. They don't know other ways.
After the play, there are two fouls. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, passing team number 65. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, intercepting team number 99. The penalty's offset at the dead ball spot. First down, San Francisco.
So that's Frank Garcia and Sean Moran again with a penalty, and that's a 60-yard interception return and Parrish's 7th pick of the season.
And there's the interception right there. You see it's a slant, and they just squeezed him or sandwiched him in there. The ball goes right off the receiver, right up in the air to Parrish. Here's Marshall Falk. He's down there. He's not going to let Parrish get in the end zone. Here's Garcia and Sean Moran down there.
And the umpire, that's the ump cam, and you saw the flag coming out of his pocket. And it's first and goal now.
And the picture coming out of his head.
Hurst. Meanwhile, Parrish will spend the fourth quarter, if he's in there, trying very hard to do whatever he can to intercept the pass, because that would tie him for the league lead. Rod Woodson, the amazing Rod Woodson, had 8 this year. There's Parrish. Brian Kelly of Tampa also with 8, and then 7 now for Parrish, who came over from the Bears.
And that was a big acquisition for the 49ers. They lose Lance Schulters, and they really had a hole there in that secondary, and they get Parrish, and he's filled it very well.
Second and goal in the waning seconds of the third quarter.
False start, offense, number 66, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Eric Heitman.
Eric Heitman, you know, I said earlier how impressed I was with the way he plays. He has a cast on his hand. He's right in the middle of nachos here, though. But anyway, he's playing with a cast on his hand. He's a 7th-round draft choice out of Stanford. He still lives in the same place that he lived when he went to Stanford, with his same roommates who play at Stanford. And when he got a pro contract, they wanted him to pay more money, and he said no. He said that'd be illegal. NCAA rules.
It's a good neighborhood, too. It's the end of the third quarter. 17-3 San Fran. Back after this from our ABC station.
The road to the Super Bowl begins on ABC with an NFL Wildcard Saturday doubleheader. Manning versus Pennington, Vick versus Favre. It's win or go home. Colts, Jets, Falcons, Packers. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern.
Sleepyheads, listen up.
If you live in Grand Rapids, it's time to go back to bed. All schools are closed today.
Now that the snow is here, you won't want to miss WZZM 13's morning news, because you could be going back to bed. WZZM 13, your official school closing station.
Chrysler invites you to preview our holiday collection, featuring our best-selling collection of minivans, now with a special holiday bonus. Now, choose one of 3 Sony personal entertainment packages when you buy any new Town & Country minivan. Plus, get 0% financing for 60 months on select minivans. Or choose cash allowances up to $3,500. But hurry, this invitation ends January 2nd, so see your Chrysler dealer today.
Tibby's, sophisticated furnishings and country charm. Tibby's, enjoyable shopping experience. Start the new year right by shopping Tibby's 2-day sale, January 3rd and 4th. Save 10 to 40% on furniture for the entire family. Tibby's Home Furnishings, West Michigan's hidden treasure.
WZZM 13's morning news.
A half hour earlier, January 6th.
ESPN Sports Center follows the game. The game from St. Louis tonight, where we begin the 4th quarter. Al Michaels, John Madden, Melissa Stark. Regular season ending tonight. 2nd down and goal here now for the 49ers after the Parrish interception. And Rattay gets sacked, taken down at the 15-yard line by Brian Young.
You know, quarterbacks always talk about that clock in their head. Rattay's clock wasn't working that time. I mean, you get set, and if it's not there, the ball has to come out. You just can't wait any longer. You get to a point of no return, and Tim Rattay didn't get it then. You watch him, he goes back here, he's okay. Now, you don't have any more time.
That clock doesn't work, you get clocked.
And that's exactly what happened.
3rd down and goal from the 19. Taken away by Leonard Little, who had an earlier sack, forces the fumble here. And the 49ers angry about a non-penalty call here as Kozar winds up with the football, keeping it for San Fran.
And the Rams need some more Leonard Littles. I mean, you know, we talk about a guy who's a playmaker. He's up here in the top of the screen, and you just see he has speed. And some guys could go and take that beltway and get up and go around and never get back. But he can get up and then get around and then get back. You see, this is the same thing. You see what Tyoka Jackson did? He's grabbing Scott Gregg so he can't get out there to Little.
44-yard attempt by Jeff Chandler, on whom they spent a 4th-round draft pick. Out of Florida, he adds on 3, and the 49ers extend their lead to 20-3.
We see doctors. And heroes. We see explorers. And inventors. We see writers. And artists. At Microsoft, we stand in awe of kids and their potential to do anything, to be anything. It's what inspires us to create software that helps them reach it.
Check it out.
Introducing the all-new Ram Heavy Duty. Ram Heavy Duty. Enough muscle to grab Motor Trend's 2003 Truck of the Year award.
After the game, Governor Engler passes the buck to Jennifer Granholm for the Allegan Casino. Plus, the NFL is cutting its losses. Will Marty Mornhinweg be one of the casualties? Details in sports after the game.
Fourth quarter, 13:43 to go as the 49ers get ready for the playoffs. Get ready to meet the New York Giants Sunday at Candlestick Point. And the Rams will, for the first time since '98, be home for New Year's. Figuratively. Trunk candidate brings it back out to the 28-yard line.
Yeah, here's Scott Gregg right here, and you can see that he and Matt Willig are complaining to the official. You see, Gregg is saying there that Tyoka Jackson is grabbing me and pulling me out. Now watch what he does. Here's Tyoka Jackson right here. Now watch how he'll pull out on Gregg. You see, he grabs him with his left hand there, and then he pulls him back. And then as he pulls him back, Leonard Little runs right by him. That's how Leonard, that's the second time that they ran that stunt, and the second time that Leonard Little got there.
Now Martin flings it over the head of Ernie Conwell. We talked earlier about the NFC playoff picture. Now let's go to the other conference. In the AFC Open, of course, is 1 and Tennessee is 2. They're off this week. Pittsburgh and the Jets winning their divisions. Indy and Cleveland are the wild cards. So here's how they'll match up. Cleveland against Pittsburgh. Indianapolis against the Jets. That's the ABC game. Cleveland Pitt meeting on Sunday. And Oakland and Tennessee just remaining at home. And in the next round, there'll be a game in Oakland and there'll be a game in Nashville.
And you know, and those have to be two of the favorite teams, too, the ones that get the bye because they earn the right to have the bye by having the best record.
And they're hot, too. Ricky Prohl, it's not like either of them faded at the end. Playoff teams in the AFC, and you can see the December records, how they did. There were 5 weekends in December, and the Titans won all 5 games. Raiders and Steelers each won 4. Jets, Colts, Browns each 3 and 2. And of course, one of the reasons you don't see the Dolphin logo is December. 1st and 10 from the 41. And Martin throws, and that's hauled in. Caught by Torrey Holt. And then he gets clobbered by Tony Parrish at the 26-yard line. 33-yard game.
That's something that the Rams have done for years, where you get a roll where Jamie Martin is going to roll to his right, and then he's going to throw it all the way back to his left. You see, he comes out here and sprints, stops, and then throws the ball back all the way across the field, because when those teams play that zone, they will start to roll with the quarterback watching him. And then you can sneak on that backside a guy open deep, especially if he can run like Torrey Holt.
First down, Martin. And he guns it in to Marshall Faulk down at the 6-yard line. Took a while, but the Rams show offensive life. First and goal.
Yeah, we talked about things that Kurt Warner did. That was one on the play to Torrey Holt. Here's another one. You know, they play that cover 2. You can get a tight end down that middle, or you can get your running back down that middle. And that's what they do with Marshall Faulk. That's not a check down. They just run him right in the middle between the 2 safeties.
First and goal from the 6. The fade, and that's incomplete. No yellow. Ahmad Plummer covering Isaac Bruce.
Plummer's pretty good. I think that, you know, this whole defense, we're talking about the 49ers and how they turned their defense around, and they drafted for speed. Their whole defense was drafted or picked up to play against the Rams, to match up with this offense.
Zamora's unit done a nice job.
Well, he does an excellent job. He's a very bright guy, and his players understand and really play hard for him.
As the bloodlines. And that's caught. Touchdown Rams. Brandon Manumaleuna. First touchdown of the season for Manumaleuna.
That's the thing. The first thing you do is Manumaleuna start like he's going in to block here. You see, and then they lose him. He blocks. Then he just jumps to the outside. You have to stay with that block long enough that they will forget you as a receiver. When they leave you as a receiver, that's when you go.
Wilkins for the point after. Manumaleuna's only other NFL touchdown came on a Monday night last year against Tampa. 11.5 to go. 20-10 49ers.
Still doing those bills, hun?
Just resting with a credit card balance. You've been feeding on those high interest rates.
I just switched our balance over to a Capital One no hassle card. We're gonna save $500 a year.
$500?
Switch your high-interest balance to the Capital One no hassle card for the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates. You could save up to $500 a year.
What's in your wallet?
Doctor, do you want the number 15 or the number 10 scalpel?
Number 15, the 10's 1 millimeter too wide.
Should I get an SUV or a Caravan?
Caravan drives like a car, it gets better gas mileage.
Get the Caravan.
I have an SUV.
Sleepy time.
There's no smarter choice for your family than the Dodge Caravan. Doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure that out. Grab Dodge's 770 powertrain limited warranty. Ford, Chevy, and Toyota don't match it.
The phrase average Joe was coined for a reason. Joe's a guy who wears a shirt that says Joe on it. Joe doesn't steal the girl, he's the guy you pal around with, but not since the playoffs. Now Joe's a bachelor from Alabama who changes everything. Joe's a guy who carries New York City on 2 bad knees and guarantees victory. Joe's not just a name, it's an idea. Fathers expect more from a kid named Joe. That's how big the playoffs are. They took the name Joe and made it Joe.
Don't let the party start without you. Be there live in Times Square for Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Nelly, Rod Stewart, Third Eye Blind, and more. New Year's Eve starting at 10/9 Central only on ABC.
Starting Super Bowl Sunday, late nights with a new player, Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel Live, late night starting Super Bowl Sunday. He is laugh out loud funny. That skit he did with Ben Stein on the Fox pregame show yesterday was a classic. Jimmy Kimmel, you're going to love him. Jeff Wilkins.
The last time they ran an onside kick here, I think the 49ers are going to be expecting it this time. I would expect Wilkins.
Up to the 19.
Run in there, get that tee, and run the heck off. And keep your head down.
Let's check with Melissa.
Al, when we saw Mark Bulger here in November on Monday night, he said no matter how well he played, Kurt Warner should be the starter. So when Mike Martz declares the job open for competition, what's your reaction?
It's still Kurt Warner's job. You know, he has to lose it for it to be my job. And we're going to go into camp and compete like we always do. That's what you do as a quarterback, and it won't be any different next year.
Your mindset will not be any different coming into camp.
I'll be more excited, but, you know, it's going to take time to improve. And like I said, it's Kurt's job, and I'm going to have to take it from him.
You started the season as the unknown number 3 quarterback. You end up team MVP. How unbelievable is that?
It was a pretty exciting season. You know, obviously tonight hasn't gone like we have, and pretty much for most of the season. But personally, it's been a very successful season.
Obviously, the reason you're not playing tonight, the injured back. How is it feeling? How long's the rehab going to be?
Not a lot of rehab. It's just a lot of sitting on the couch, so it's not too bad. But I think 6 to 8 weeks, I'll be back to full strength, and it was the best case of all the bad injuries I could have had.
All right, well, enjoy the off season. It's going to be a long one, I guess.
It will be. Thanks.
All right, Al.
All right, thank you, Melissa. As Hurst takes the ball up to the the 24. We got a chance to meet, Bolger earlier this year. He played on a Monday night. Very unassuming guy.
Yeah, and then in the game was very, very impressive. It's always important that a quarterback feel comfortable and is getting things, on the line of scrimmage and making audibles and doing all those things. And you really had the feeling from the first time he played that Mark Bolger was very, very comfortable.
3rd down and 5 at the 24. Under pressure, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Eric Johnson, and the 49ers will have to punt. Bolger came on a month and a half into the season, had a phenomenal day against the San Diego Chargers, and there were his numbers through the 7 games in which he played. His pass rating 101.5. That would have led the league, but he will not wind up with the necessary number of throws. And then last week this happened very early in the game, and that's the one loss he's charged with as a starter. Wobbly kick. Dre Bly fielding the Bill LaFleur punt and brings it back to the 47. So the Niners trying to hang on to a victory here, hit home and prepare for Sunday. 20-10, 49ers.
Don't mess with Dodge Ram, Durango, and Dakota. Part of the most powerful, longest-lasting line of trucks. Ram Heavy Duty. Enough muscle to grab Motor Trend's 2003 Truck of the Year award.
Please enter password. Please scan retina. Please submit blood sample. Please submit hair sample.
Can your security software protect your entire enterprise without making you jump through hoops?
Ready for that 10 o'clock, Dave?
Coming.
Ours can. Comprehensive security solutions from Computer Associates.
You know what impossible means? Don't even try it. Impossible can't happen. Impossible says, what are you, crazy? That's impossible. But not anymore. Not since the playoffs. Now impossible is just a starting point. Impossible is a negotiation. Impossible means Tom Brady, a second-string quarterback drafted in the 6th round, can catapult millions into euphoria. That's the magnitude of the playoffs. They've changed the English language. They've made impossible possible.
Heisman winner Carson Palmer of USC meets Iowa's Brad Banks in a clash of top quarterbacks. The FedEx Orange Bowl, Thursday night, 8 Eastern on ABC.
Coming to ABC, 25 guys will square off to win the heart of the Bachelorette. And the competition starts Wednesday, January 8th, right here on ABC. Dana Stubblefield, 49ers moving their guys in and out tonight defensively. Right now, they're top units in.
Yep, and I think that this is a division rivalry, and and has been for so long. I think this 49er team wants this win.
Martin throws, and it's caught. Conwell to the 44-yard line.
It's easy to say, well, why? Of course they want the win. Why wouldn't they want the win? I think that's an important thing. I think this is a goal to them right now, because it would be easy to say they just want to get through this game and get out of here, go home, and get ready for the New York Giants. And I think they want to do those things, but en route to those things, I think they want to win here, because it is the Rams.
And when you reach this point with a 10-point lead and less than 10 minutes to play, you don't want to cough it up. It's almost as if you ratchet it up a little bit here, too. 2nd down and 1 from the 44. Reminds me a little bit, John, of, the way they play the Pro Bowl. They kind of start out, and, the game doesn't really mean anything. The next thing you know, it's a close game in the 4th quarter, and they're playing like it's the middle of October.
Yeah, because all your life, you've been taught to win. If you're going to play a game, you have to win. I'll tell you, it's tough to run in the middle on this 49er defense. Watch Bryant Young, and he's one of the reasons. He and Dana Stubblefield, they get a double team on him, and watch him roll out of that double team and get back in the tackle. That's what they always teach you, to fight pressure.
Third and a long one. Falk swings to the outside, turns the corner, moves the chains. First down. John, our crack research staff said you can go up one side and down the other, or up the other side and down the reverse side. So all the way through the interior of that arch, you can go up or down. Now, I couldn't remember because it was like 30 years ago when I did this.
But as you're going up and or down, can you see out?
Well, you can't see out until you get to the top.
Oh, no, I'd never do that.
Oh, yeah,
crazy. That's crazy.
Then there are some splits up there.
That's crazy.
Well, can I get you halfway up?
No, you go all the way up that to look out some slits?
You're
kidding me.
You lean right there, sort of, I guess, in that area where you see the beacon. There are some slits. In fact, you can make them out. There they are. Yep. And you kind of lean forward, as I recall, and you can look out, and you can see, of course, on one side of the arch, you can see Illinois across the river.
But how about on your way up and your way down? You can't see out?
No. Oh, no.
Oh, no. I'd never do
no. Can I get you in an arch before I got you in the plane? 2nd and 6. That pass is almost intercepted. You know, John, you were way ahead of your time with this plane stuff. I got to tell you, Disneyland may be the happiest place on earth, but any airport is now the grimmest place on earth. Let's go to Melissa.
Al, an injury update on 49ers corner Jason Webster. The 3-year starter had x-rays on his twisted left ankle. They were negative, but they are not sure if he'll be able to play next week against the Giants.
You know, that's the big thing. I mean, you say, you know, you win, you lose, you want to play hard, but the big thing, you want to come out of this game when you're playing a playoff game the next week, you want to come out healthy.
3rd down and 6. Swing it out to Marshall Faulk. And he takes it to the 26-yard line. '49ers trying to go to the playoffs with 2 wins in a row. Meanwhile, the Eagles in December, 4-1. Green Bay, the Gents, all 4-1. Niners 3-1 pending tonight. Bucks wound up 3-2, and the Falcons stumble in, lose yesterday to Cleveland, and then get in because New Orleans gets beaten by Carolina, 2-3. To the end zone, and a great grab by Bruce for the touchdown.
I think there's still a couple veterans here in this Ram teams who remember the good old days. And I think we've just seen 2 of them on the last 2 plays. Isaac Bruce on that play and Marshall Faulk on the play before it. Here's Plummer. He's playing way too much off. He's playing way too off. And all Isaac Bruce does is just set him up and just come to the inside a little, hold him there, and then the ball is thrown perfectly over his outside shoulder. But Ned Plummer looked to me like he relaxed too much. He relaxed in his coverage. I think he was too far off, and then he just let Isaac Bruce get up on him and then go past him.
Wilkins for the point after. Isaac Bruce with his 7th touchdown reception of the season. 3-point game with 7:09 to play.
Hey, Don! Hey, what's up? You going to Tommy's party? I can't. I'm working. Oh, break.
The Dodge SXTs. 4 cool cars. And you won't have to work 2 jobs just to buy one.
Don, you made it!
I like your hat.
Grab Dodge's 770 powertrain limited warranty. Ford, Chevy, and Toyota don't match it.
A mysterious stranger out to avenge his father's murder will become a hero in the movie critics are calling the year's most thrilling entertainment. Now it's been nominated for 5 Golden Globe Awards, including Best Picture of the Year, Gangs of New York, rated R, now playing.
The 7-layer nachos from Taco Bell. So much flavor for so little price. You may become a 7-flavor optimist.
Do you mind? Knock yourself out.
7-layer nachos at just 99 cents. Get all the flavor of 7 intense taste stacked on golden chips. They're a value. Down to the very last bite. To get more flavor for 99 cents, think outside the bun.
You've waited all year for this moment. Triple X. Buy it on special edition DVD December 31st.
Since I've logged on to NFL.com, I've been assembling the ultimate fantasy football team. Just kickers, baby.
Beginning January 27th, Skeet Ulrich investigates bizarre events no one can explain. It's a compelling new drama known as Miracles. Beginning Monday, Jan 27th, that's the day after the Super Bowl, right here. There are the vets. Bruce, Falk, Holt.
They're the guys that made the play.
18-yard line. Joined us late. Niners had the ball for almost the whole first quarter. Settled for 3, led by 17 at the half. Rams got on the board in the third, but now the Rams have scored 2 touchdowns. It's 20-17, and when you look at this, the Rams, whether it's in Anaheim or St. Louis, lost 50 straight games when trailing at home by 10 or more points. You have to go back to Eric Dickerson's rookie year, the last time they overcome a 10 or more point deficit at home, and they're in the process of trying to do that tonight. They trailed 17-0 and 20-3. And this is Hurst having it taken away by Dre Bly for the touchdown.
What was that Mike Martz told Melissa at halftime? You have one more half and you have to think about it for 7 months. Look at how Garrison Hurst has that ball out there. Ray Bly with his left hand just rips it right out. He talked about a momentum changer, a turnaround. The Rams were dead for 3 quarters. And now they said, we got one more quarter to play this season. Let's make this one a good one.
And the crowd loving every minute of it. You would think it was a playoff game the way they're responding. So Bly with a return touchdown of 20 yards. It's only the second return touchdown of any type this year by the Rams, and they've given up 12. And that's another reason why they come in with a mark of 6-9. But they have now erased a 17-point deficit with 6:54 to go in the fourth. Rams leading for the first time tonight.
Whether you're shopping, traveling for business, or back at school studying, this new year your family can stay in touch thanks to Verizon Wireless. Get them the America's Choice National Family Share Plan. Now with unlimited night and weekend airtime minutes on up to 4 separate lines, so everyone can share all they want. Plus, hurry and buy one Motorola phone for $29.99 and get a second free, so you can have a family get-together whenever you want. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you.
Can you hear me now? Good.
This whole drugs and terror thing, I mean, it's a very complicated issue. A complicated issue? Complicated. Very complicated.
No drug buyers, no drug money, no drug money, no drug dealers, no drug dealers, no drug murders, shootings, bribery, corruption.
Not that complicated.
This is Troy Brown of the New England Patriots. Troy helps the United Way build stronger communities by spending time with senior citizens. Troy is a fierce competitor.
I'm the man.
I-18.
Bingo. Bingo. I got bingo. I'll win again.
Bingo.
Just practicing for my new talk show. Is it true what we've heard about you and Gwyneth Paltrow? I'd like to welcome our next guest. How'd it go in there?
Jimmy Kimmel Live, late night starting Super Bowl Sunday on ABC.
Coming up, the NYSE pregame show Saturday at 4 Eastern time. Into the Meadowlands, the Colts take on the Jets as the playoffs begin. And then following that game, 8 Eastern time, 5 Pacific time, it's the Atlanta Falcons and the Green Bay Packers. Michael Vick, Brett Favre from Lambeau Field.
You know, they always say that, and who are guys that you would pay to watch? I think these two quarterbacks in that game are guys that everyone would pay to watch.
Yeah, we get a credential. And the Rams with good coverage, blanket coverage, and about 8 of them are there.
The Rams are going crazy right now. I mean, they're getting down this. Their whole season is down to this last quarter. This is it.
The Rams in this quarter, trailing by 17. It was Martin hitting Manu Maliuna to make it a 10-point game. And then right there to Bruce to make it a 3-point game. And then they take the lead here on the strip by Blythe.
It's something how you can be flat for 3 quarters and do nothing, and then in the 4th quarter turn the thing completely around.
Totally. 125 yards, -4 on the other side. And that was just Barlow, and he can't get out of the backfield because Robert Thomas, their #1 draft choice out of UCLA, makes the tackle.
I think a lot of this momentum changed with Leonard Little. You know, those couple of pass rushes we saw him make, and you know, and get in there and get the sacks and make things happen, and everyone kind of fed off Leonard Little. He's a playmaker. Remember one time they thought he was just a pass rusher and not an every down guy, but he has proven to be an every down guy.
2nd and 9 from the 14. Flag.
Prior to the snap, ball start, offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Eric Heitman.
Steve Mariucci was telling us last night that they were breaking down both Atlanta and the Giants, and then of course when they find out they're playing the Giants, they stayed up last night breaking down the film of the Giants game when they got it in. They're going to get into San Francisco at 3 o'clock tomorrow morning, and they're going to go right to work.
They play on Sunday.
Yeah. You know, I mean, they've lost the day, so I said, when you go home, he said, I don't know. Until we're finished, he said, a lot of our coaches just sleep right there.
Yeah, they thought about leaving some coaches home. Garrison Hurst stopped at the line of scrimmage. Well, think of it this way. If one of these teams would have won the division, the other would have been a wild card. The league would have been in a very messy situation and having to have one of these teams play on Saturday, which is the risk you run when you play an intra-division game or an intra-conference game on the last Monday of the season. Third down and 14 from the 9.
Here's where they have to get this guy blocked right here the way he's going. Leonard Little.
Rattay throws, and that's caught up at the 27-yard line for a first down by Cedric Wilson.
It was a heck of a play. There was good protection there. It was something stopped Little. He started like he was going up the field, and then he just stopped. And Tim Rattay, watch the passing lane that he has here. See, because they open up there and right, there's no one in the middle, and he has this lane right here to throw the ball in. There's 2 things you have to have. You have to have an open receiver, but you have to have a lane to that open receiver.
From the 27-yard line, Rattay slings it up to the 45 for a first down. J.J. Stokes makes the catch. 19 yards there. And Marsh was saying we have to play this like it's the Super Bowl, and for Rattay, this is his Super Bowl.
It is, because it's not only, you know, as we said earlier, if he has to come in for Jeff Garcia in the playoffs, but I think it's his future. I mean, is he really someday a starting quarterback in the NFL?
First and 10 from the 45. And Barlow swings to the outside and turns it upfield and gets it across the 50.
That was a Marshall Faulk move there. You know, Marshall Faulk is one of those few guys that could run straight ahead, stop and go backwards, and then straight ahead again. Of course, the best ever at that was Barry Sanders. I mean, Barry Sanders could go in one way and stop. But watch Barlow. Stop, go backwards, then go sideways. That's a tough thing to do. Running full speed forward and your next step backwards.
2nd and 5 from the 49-yard line. 3 minutes to play. Rattay, secondary does its job, throws on the run, and the pass is incomplete.
I think the clock worked in Tim Rattay's head that time because he knew that he waited, he had nothing open, and he had to get out of there, so he scrambles out to the right, and he still has nothing, so he throws it away. But here he knows right now, I better get the heck out of here. And then there's nothing there, I better just throw it away.
Clock working in concert with hoofbeats in his head. 3rd down and 5 from the 49. They want to draw, but the Rams are right there, and the ball is loose on the ground. And it's Dexter McLean coming up with it. St. Louis ball.
I know what Steve Mariucci is thinking. We had everything. We had this game in control. Everything was going our way. And then this happened. We talk about who is a playmaker on this defense, and it's been one guy all night, Leonard Little, right there. He's made the pass rushes. He's made the sacks, and he's going to make this play. Watch him. He's right here. He feels run. He comes down, makes the trapper miss him, and then strips the ball right out. See him come down as he's tackling with his left hand. He's stripping with his right hand. But that was a trap. The guard was pulling to trap him, and he made the trapper miss, got inside, and then stripped Garrison Hurst.
For Garrison Hurst, who started his career with fumble troubles and then recovered from that, he hasn't fumbled twice in a game since 1995. Here he puts it down twice in the 4th period. Now Martin gives the ball to Faulk. Swings to the outside. Seeks that 1st down. And he's playing like it's the middle of January.
And you know, and that's because he's a football player, and he's a professional football player, and there's a game to be played. And there was talk, you know, you're just going to play a little, you're going to play a lot. And he said, I'm going to play a lot, and I'm going to have fun. And he said, I want to beat the 49ers as bad as I've ever wanted to beat the 49ers. I'll say this, it didn't look like it the first 3 quarters, but in this 4th quarter, the Rams will look like the team that they were 2 years ago. Well, I'm not going to go that far. But they look like the team that they talked about being tonight.
Right.
Because some days you go, oh, you go over the board, and then you come back and you say, okay, let's put this in proper place. You know, we were talking earlier about being worn out, and I feel that, you know, emotionally and the strain of the game and the pressure of the game and everything that Mike Martz has, I just feel that if his whole team isn't worn out, or part of his team isn't worn out, I think Mike Martz is worn out.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent summation.
And you know, just going to say, you talk about meaningless games, and people say it's meaningless. The 49ers. Look at these faces of these players and coaches and tell me it's meaningless.
No way. Especially, you know, at this point, they get back in the game. The crowd is into it. You know, you forget about, and there's a look on the face of a guy who's, you know, he's going to the playoffs next week. These guys aren't. But you forget about the records and all of that at a certain point in the game, and this is that point. After the 49ers are taking their first time out, they take their second one here to conserve the clock at the 36-yard line.
Yeah, we talked about Marshall Faulk playing and how much he was going to play, and he has taken every snap. Marshall Faulk has been in on every play for the Rams tonight. You know, and I've always liked the way he runs and the way he protects. You know, there's a point where you're not going to get any more yards, but just protect the ball.
Falk started his career, of course, at Indianapolis, and he was great there and really blossomed here. And from Canada, who was the #1 draft pick out of Arizona a couple of years ago, University of Arizona. But a guy right now who has fumble problems and doesn't appear to be the successor to Marshall Falk. And here's Andre Carter tackled at the line of scrimmage. Well, our final horse trailer player of the game for the year. There's an illustrious crew. Brett Favre, of course, is on the trailer. Jerry Rice. Can't have a trailer without JR. Steve McNair, the unsung one.
Big offensive line.
Yep. Charlie Brown is the owner-driver of the horse trailer. That horse trailer is going to work its way up the interstate to Green Bay on Saturday.
They bring some snow in with it somewhere. But that's going to be a tough thing. I mean, who is going to go on the horse trailer tonight?
Game's not over.
No, okay. That's good. Now, that's what they ought to do with the Pro Bowl and the MVP and wait until it's all over.
Yeah.
And then say who it is.
3rd down and 5 from the 36. It's caught by Marshall Falk, but he's a little short of the 1st down. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. 49ers are out of timeouts, and we'll see what March is going to do on a 4th down play here on the other side of the commercial.
He's going to have to go for it.
We're winding down in St. Louis as the Rams try to hold on.
This is Steve Mariucci.
Hi, Sam.
He is head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, and like many of his players, Coach Mariucci supports the United Way.
What's Japanese for a 17-syllable poem? Haiku.
Steve is smart.
What elementary particle? Electron.
Very smart.
What boy band burst on the scene in 1999?
NSYNC. In sync.
Tearing up my heart.
Nice work, Steve.
No?
The road to the Super Bowl begins on ABC with an NFL Wildcard Saturday doubleheader. Manning versus Pennington, Vick versus Favre. It's win or go home. Colts, Jets, Falcons, Packers. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern.
ABC's Monday Night Football brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. Computer Associates, the software that manages e-business. And Capital One, what's in your wallet? You can log on, gang, ESPN.com. John will preview the wild card weekend. Niffle.com, otherwise known as NFL.com. Log on there, too. Log on to Schwab & Company as well. See how the market does tomorrow. All you day traders. Mike Martz with a decision here, and most likely to go for it.
Yeah, I think he's going to go for it. You wonder what he's going to go for it with. I think with Jamie Martin, again, having that bad knee and not practicing all week, you know, the play would probably be a quarterback sneak. But with the injury and so on, I think it'll probably be a handoff. I mean, I would just give the ball to Marshall Falk.
Jim Mora barking in last-second instructions. And instead, to the air they go. Wide open. 1st down, touchdown. Ernie Conwell. Garrison, better tonight than Sunday. Let me just tell you that.
Yeah, if you're going to have those in you, get them out of your system now. But you know, the best down and distance to call a play pass is 4th and short. I mean, you assume that they're going to quarterback sneak or hand it off, fake it, and throw it.
Wilkins for the extra point. And the Rams, who looked like they were completely dead tonight, played a sultry first half, will win this one.
And you see, anytime you get this, these guys have to bite right now because they have gaps in a goal line defense or in a gap 8. They have to get up to get in their gaps. Then if they get up to get in their gaps, there's going to be a tight end wide open. I'll tell you, that's an easy play to run, but as a coach, sometimes it's hard to call. You know, when you have 4th and inches, you know, a play pass is a heck of a thing, but it's tough to call because you will usually go with that conservative play to get you the first down.
But when you're 6-9 and it's the end of the season, and you know what the heck is you have to think at this point.
Yeah, that window I was talking about, just throw conservative right out it.
28-point fourth quarter for the Rams. They did that once before, 50 years ago against the Bears. Jim Hannafin congratulating his group. Martin's throwing 3 touchdown passes here in the fourth quarter, and there it is quarter by quarter. Up to the 15-yard line. I threw out Bob Waterfield's name before. He's the last guy to quarterback the Rams to a 28-point fourth quarter. You know, I think about if there'll be a quarterback controversy here next year with Warner and Bolger. I mean, I think the classic early quarterback controversy was Waterfield and Norm Van Broecklyn. 50 years ago with the Rams.
And then I think there probably will be one because whomever you start, if he has, you know, a bad quarter, a bad part, you're going to say put the other one in because you know that they can both do it because they've both done it.
Yep. From the 16-yard line on first down. Paul Smith. Well, Melissa, we congratulate. Melissa played hurt tonight. We got to get her well now because we're going up to Green Bay in 5 days. I've got a nice little magic potion for Melissa after the game with a black label on it. We'll get her rolling.
Maliuna coming up with that big play, a touchdown where his face is in front of that.
I thought that was a guy in the stands wearing a Mono Maliuna jersey.
Maliuna. Oh, that's him. The guy blocked and blocked and blocked and then went out and caught that pass.
2nd and 6. Smith to the 28-yard line. The Niners don't have a timeout. They'll run the clock out here. And horse trailer. You know what, John? We're doing this on the fly.
Very much on the fly.
How about, I mean, if there were a few big plays in the game, but Dre Bly with that strip and in for the touchdown, you know, to in effect climax the comeback. What do you think?
Well, I mean, how about Jamie Martin? I mean, Covington couldn't do it. Jamie Martin didn't practice all week, comes in here, and he had a great performance. Marshall Faulk, I think, playing every snap. I don't know. I'm going to.
Paul Smith, put them both up? What do you think? One offense, one defense?
Sounds good to me.
Why not? They were the key guys. Martin and Dre Bly. They'll take a ride to Green Bay.
And that was doing it on the fly.
That was like old Chicago politics right there. Count those ballots. Rams win it, and the regular season is over. We'll wrap it after this.
Morning, Joe. New haircut?
No. New shoes? No.
Hey, Joe. You been working out?
No.
Hey, Joe. Shave your mustache?
Nope.
You sure that's not a new haircut?
Yes.
Did you just get back from vacation?
No.
Did you get a promotion?
No.
Did I?
No.
No.
What's different? He finally asked his doctor about Viagra. Ready to ask your doctor about Viagra for the first time? Find out if a free sample is right for you. To learn more, visit Viagra.com. Ask your doctor and see the difference.
Bring in the new year with a college football celebration on ABC. Penn State faces Auburn in the Capital One Bowl. Washington State takes on Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl game presented by PlayStation 2. And Georgia meets Florida State in the No Kiss Sugar Bowl. New Year's Day starting at 11 a.m. Eastern with a Tournament of Roses parade.
Once again, the final score, the St. Louis Rams 31, San Francisco 49ers 20. On the horse trailer, well, Jamie Martin with a great fourth quarter, and Dre Bly made the play with the strip, take it in for the touchdown, and we get to the field, and Melissa.
Al, Marshall Faulk and the Rams, a renewed sense of energy in the fourth quarter. Where did you find it?
You know, when we went in at halftime and we hadn't scored any points and we hadn't done much with the ball, you know, when you're used to playing for something and you're used to looking forward to the playoffs and you don't have that, sometimes guys don't know what to look for to play. You know, coach just basically say, go out there and have fun, enjoy yourselves, because that's what this game is about. And we came out and made some adjustments, and you know, 28 points in the fourth quarter is huge, regardless of what game it is.
In a season full of disappointments, I mean, how much of a point of emphasis was it to end on this positive of a note?
I think when you start looking ahead to next year, what you want to do is you want to win your last game, whether it's in the playoffs, Super Bowl, or whatever. And I mean, this is a good start for us for next year, winning this game here.
And as you look into the postseason, this is going to be the first time that you haven't gone since you've been with the Rams to the postseason. I mean, what are your plans?
I don't know yet. I have no idea. Haven't made any, wasn't looking forward to making any, and still haven't.
Are there any positives you guys can take out of this season?
You know, just we got a lot of players that got experience due to injuries and things like that. So next year when we come back, we fall into the situation when we have a guy or two go down. The person that steps in will have a lot of experience.
All right, well, enjoy the off season.
Thank you.
All right, Al, well, Marshall Faulk and all of them were told to play like it was the Super Bowl. And that's exactly what they did.
Especially in the fourth quarter, as we thank our boss, Howard Katz, and the guys who made it all happen this year. In the truck, Fred Godelli and Drew Esikoff and the gang as we move on to Green Bay for the playoffs Saturday night. Final score again tonight, 31-20 St. Louis. Wildcard Saturday, New York Stock Exchange pregame show. Colts, Jets first. Falcons, Packers next. Now stay tuned for your late local news. Those of you on the West Coast, a special edition of Monk. Al Michaels, John Madden, and Melissa Stark saying good night from St. Louis. Tradition continues. Sports' biggest events right here. This is ABC Sports Championship Television.
ABC Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.
7 celebrities in Hawaii. If they play nice, they'll win the prize. But
against this team, Garrison Hurst, a 3-yard rush in the first quarter on the opening drive. Second play, give it to him again. 3 yards. Third play, Hurst. He's good for 5. Fourth play, Jeff Garcia, the pass to Hurst for a 6-yard gain. Stuffed, no gain. We're going to play number 6. Hurst running right 5. 7th play, Fred Beasley. Let's go to the 8th play. And I think they script the first 20. Garcia to Beasley. That's good for 10. 9th play, Barlow. Try him, 1 yard. 10th play of the opening drive. Another 1-yard run. Let's stay away from that guy. Garcia, scrambled eggs. Picks up 9. He does it better than anybody in the NFL. 12th play. Okay, maybe Mike Vick. Hurst breaks a tackle to the outside. 11 yards, first down. 13th play of the drive. Short gain. 14th play. It's designed for Hurst. Picks up 4. 15th play, Garcia's going to fake the handoff, escape 2, get to the outside, pick up 7 on the scramble. Barlow to the outside, 8 yards on the 16th play of the opening drive. 17th play, we're going to go back to him. Field stuffed. 18th play, short run, no good. 19th play, looking for his line to get out of his way. Garcia throws it away. Play number 20. It's going to work now or I'll go home. Whew. Field goal. 81 yards, 12 minutes, 7 seconds, longest drive in the NFL this season in what should have been the shortest game. It means nothing. Tim Rattay to Hurst, stripped. Dre Bly, all yours. He goes the other way for the touchdown. The Rams put 28 on the board in the fourth and win 31-20.
You know, it's time to put the NFL regular season to bed. Start playing some games.
And it's about time.
I know you're ready.
What a great season, though, huh?
It has been a terrific season. We're ready for the postseason now. Sean Salisbury here to play a little pretender, contender, and we're going to do it a little bit differently tonight. Basically, wild card weekend, the pretender's the team that's going to lose. The contender, the team that advances. So you want to get started in the NFC?
Let's get it on right now.
All right, let's just start with the team that just finished its regular season on Monday Night Football. 49ers against the Giants.
Kerry Collins, the contender here is the Giants. Collins is playing well. Jim Fossil's calling good games, and I like the secondary play. You saw him earlier against Owens. They are physical. They are up in your face. You stop Owens. I believe you stop the 49ers. Plus, the Giants are on a roll and have Tiki Barber playing well.
Look at the ESPN.com online voters. They like the Giants, too, over San Francisco. The other matchup in the NFC, rematch of a good game early in the season, Falcons and Packers.
Yes, and it's Packers. They're going to win at home. It's Lambeau. It'll be difficult. Favre hasn't played well lately, but it is the playoffs, and if I got to win one game, I still want Favre as my quarterback. I think they're going to win, and you've got to make the Falcons one-dimensional. That means keeping Michael Vick in the pocket and taking away his legs. Packers win.
All right, you seem to be in sync with everyone in the NFC, and we'll see about the AFC now. The Browns, they come in, they sneak in the playoffs, they lose their quarterback, they go up against an arch rival in the Steelers.
And they got their backup quarterback, Kelly Holcomb, in due the Cleveland Browns, and that's why I got to go with Pittsburgh because of the nasty blitz. It's filthy. The Steelers will look like they're rushing 15 and 16 people. They're going to make Holcomb max protect, and with two-man routes, I don't know if they can handle that. Plus, Hines Ward, Plexico Burress, Randall L., the big plays are there with Tommy Maddox. Pittsburgh wins.
Look how big you are in the community.
I'm huge in the community.
With the online voters. They like the Steelers as well. The other matchup in the AFC, Colts and Jets.
This is the no-brainer of the group. Physical Jets are going to win this one. Curtis Martin, they can pound you. The Colts are a little bit more soft. And then you got to stop Harrison and Manning. But if you can just deal with those two and take Edgerrin James out of the game, a two-man game won't be enough. And Pennington, how good has this guy been? Jets win this game. They're the scariest team in the AFC right now.
All you're doing is ringing the bell. You love ringing the bell.
Ding, ding.
You like the ding, ding,
It's
ding
my
when
peeps.
the people are with you.
Right.
4 for 4. Look at this. The online voters, a perfect score for you, Sean. That has to make you just proud. That's a way to ring out an old year.
Kind of like my SAT score, buddy.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Way, way up there. Pretender in the SAT.
Not this
contender?
cat. I went to Southern Cal. Are you kidding me?
That's right. Big private school with those big fat SAT scores.
And a win in that game, too.
All right, Sean. Are you picking the Orange Bowl now?
Yes.
All right. Carl, back to you.
Thanks.
Well, David Stern has this recurring nightmare. It's late May. He's in the middle of the
coming out in the fourth quarter, playing like they did, with the circumstances, with all the people that we've had out and injured. I mean, you look down the sideline. I looked down the sideline one time, and the guys I looked down there, you know, it's a who's who of our team, basically. And the other guys filled in the blanks and just did a terrific job.
Could you talk about the play that Dre made to score and what that meant?
I couldn't see it. Well, first of all, that wins the game for us. I mean, there's no question that wins the game for us. That puts us in a position there where we've got all the momentum now. They got their back against the wall. They've got a game next week. They can't get too exposed. At that point, we knew that, you know, we get a takeaway or we get the ball at midfield, we could ice this thing. And, of course, we were able to do that.
Mike, would you talk about the pickup in defensive intensity after halftime? Was it something maybe you said or the players got together and said, hey, enough is enough, kind of?
Well, first of all, you have to recognize, I think we're playing 3 rookies on defense. You know, Cortland Buller's never played before. You got Robert Thomas is just starting to learn how to play back there. You got Travis Fisher back there. We got young guys that are getting used to the tempo of that game. And for young players that have not played before, it takes a little time. And then we had to fill in, you know, Bryce, I thought did a terrific job going in there for Grant Wistrom. He hadn't played much. So the guys that really haven't played much that had to play, started picking up their game, so to speak, and we didn't give them a whole lot of hope in the first half offensively. And I think defensively, what they decided is that they were going to have to win this thing, and they stopped them, got the ball back, and we were able to get the ball in the end zone.
Any update on Orlando's situation?
Orlando is they fear he's got a torn meniscus. They don't know for sure. Don't quote me on that. That was just it just may be a swollen knee, but that was their fear when they looked at it. So we'll just have to see, which means it would have to be scoped.
Any thoughts of maybe he shouldn't have been out there, or just this is the way it happens, the way things happen?
It's just the way it happens. You get paid to play, you get paid to coach. That's why Marshall played. That's why they all play. Would you know? Would these people come to the game if we're just going to start protecting guys? First of all, I will never coach that way. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I will never coach that way. You get paid to play, you get paid to coach. What do you want me to do, go home at halftime? You know, well, we're on the same boat. If we just don't do those things.
Was Scott having trouble understanding what the plays were? Because
he just got a little excited and got things going, and that happens. You have to understand the verbiage that's involved. And he had a couple of plays called backwards that hurt us early in the game. So I just felt like instead of making a bad situation worse and ruining him, which would happen, just completely making him discouraged, get him out there and let see what Jamie can do.
was it just because of game situation?
Yeah.
It's more intense?
Yeah, it's so intense. Things are so much faster. And like I said, he's going to be a real good player. But you have to remember, this was his first week of practice ever. And he's starting on Monday night. How about that? So,
Mike, surprised at all at the crowd hanging in there and having a little bit of fun with
let me tell you this. This has been said to me by several head coaches in this league. We have the best crowd in the National Football League. We're 0-5. The Raiders come in here as the best team in all of football. We pound them here, and a lot of it has to do with the crowd that got involved. And the same thing today. You know, no matter what the situation is, I look up in the sand that the thing that gets all of our players, and they talk about it, is there's a rear end in every seat. You can't say that about the rest of the league. And that says something about the people here in this city and the fans, the Rams fans. And trust me when I tell you how much it appreciated and what an effect it has on the game.
Was there ever a point in the game for you where it was kind of ugly there, where you're thinking, oh, my God, so this is how this nightmare is going to end? Did you ever wonder in that game, not the way you wanted to go out, the way it was going for a while there?
During that game, you just can't allow yourself that kind of thing. Your mind's constantly going, trying to figure out a way to, you know, get a first down, to get going. If you allow yourself those moments during the course of a game, then basically you've given up. And no, that part didn't come to mind. I was getting anxious, you know, to say the least, but, you know, it worked out.
Mike, can you talk about your kickoff coverage, too?
All right, let's listen in on Steve Mariucci now. His team takes a loss, but, hey, they're going to the playoffs.
We did have some new linemen in front of them who haven't played much, certainly haven't played together. Only had 3 receivers, and Cedric began limping in the third quarter, so he was a little bit his supporting cast was such that it was a little bit more difficult to move the football. It was very beneficial for guys like Tim to play as much as he did, for guys like Kozar, Heitman, Ben Lynch played center in the 2.5 quarters. It was beneficial from that standpoint. And so he got more than his feet wet.
Steve, is this something that can be shaken off because the game really didn't mean anything?
It has to be shaken off quickly. But these guys are all athletes and they're all competitors, and so nobody enjoys losing, especially when you're up in front. So there's going to be some temporarily discouraged fellas in that locker room. But I mentioned to him that we've got to get our minds right quickly on the Giants game, and know that the season starts over with a six team playoff, and we all start from scratch. And so we've got to feel good about that and have our minds right to play. We can't dwell on losing this game or whatever. Short-term memory. Well, we'd like to have won this one, excuse me. accomplish what we wanted to. No, we felt we wanted to win this game, obviously, and we thought we could, and I think we could have, and if we would have played a better second half. We got some of our other receivers in the mix. We've got some of our young defensive players playing a little bit more. I think we're going to get some help with Zach Bronson coming in healthy this week. I don't know about anybody else just yet. As far as Jamie or Salim, we'll have to wait and see how they practice. It would have been nice to have won the last couple of games. We only won one of them. But we're in some areas. Jeff is feeling good. Jeff finished the year very well, confidently, healthy. So we needed that for the playoff run. Thanks.
So despite the loss, the 49ers still finished the season 10-6. This is their second straight 10-win season and their NFL leading 20th since the merger in 1970. 49ers recorded an NFL best 16 straight 10-win seasons from 1983 to 1998. Well, they go down in this one tonight to the Rams, who played a strong second half, but Kevin Barlow and company are headed to the postseason. We'll show you what happened on Monday Night Football coming up.
Retiring, at least not yet. The 18-year vet postponed his plans of retiring after he met with Redskins owner Dan Snyder today. He's just 3 sacks shy of Reggie White's record. How bad is the sod problem at Giant Stadium? It's so bad. They've already replaced it 6 times this season. Next year, they're going back to the fake stuff, and they'll re-sod it for this week's playoff games. Rich Brooks is back in the ballgame. Back in the ballgame. After a 2-year hiatus, 61-year-old was hired as Kentucky's new head football coach.
What did you eat before the show?
I told you it was that Anna, the date with Anna. Who has a date with a tuna? We'll be heading to Big D, the latest on Bill Parcells, when we return.
The final. Rams held to just 35 total rushing yards, so Marshall Faulk stopped short of 1,000 for the season. St. Louis outscored San Francisco 28-3 in the fourth quarter, and the Niners go down despite 329 yards of total offense. And after the game, Ann Kreider spoke with Jamie Martin, and we're trying to figure out what's his future in St. Louis.
Rams backup quarterback Jamie Martin playing on a bruised left knee. Jamie, from your perspective, how wild was the finish to this game?
It was crazy. I mean, to start off so bad and get behind and, them have the ball the whole first half like they did. And then we just kept fighting and we found a way and it was a great finish.
What clicked in the fourth quarter? Why were you able to? Did you see something from the 49ers defense?
No, they were doing the same thing, they did all game. We just kind of made a few plays, and that's something we weren't doing early in the game. I wasn't throwing the best balls, and we had a drop ball, maybe a missed block. We just started executing, and that's what we haven't been doing all year consistently. And you saw what can happen when we start executing with this offense.
Now, you did not practice all week. How limited did you feel in your mobility?
It's pretty bad at first. It wasn't so much that it was bad as that I was thinking about it too much. I didn't want to do certain things, and once I kind of relaxed and forgot about it, and try to concentrate on the task at hand, I think it kind of loosened up for me and got better.
And what's the tenor in the locker room? You guys had a big win, but you are not headed to the playoffs, obviously.
Yeah, we've known that for a while, obviously, but this team has a great bunch of guys, and we come out every week and try to keep going, and it's just a credit to these guys in the locker room the way we finished today.
All right, Jamie Martin, thanks for the time. Back to you all in the studio.
All right, thank you. And what do? You keep Martin, Bolger, Warner? What do you do there? You're Mike Martin.
It has to look at the money situation, but you got to keep Warner, give him another shot, and I think Bolger's the guy that's probably going to lead for greener pastures.
Yeah. With their win over the Niners, Rams finished the season at 7-9. Their .438 win percentage, tied for the third worst win percentage for a Super Bowl participant in the previous season. Broncos hold the top 2 spots. They finished the 90 season at 5-11, and they finished the 99 season 6-10 after Super Bowl appearances.
Now to the portion of the show that could be sponsored by Monster.com. 3 coaching vacancies opened up in the NFL on Monday. As expected, Dave Campo was let go in Dallas after 3 straight 5-11 seasons. The writing wasn't on the wall that Campo was through. It was on a marquee at Valley Ranch in neon lights. That sign also reads, "Coming soon, Bill Parcells." The Tune is very close to signing a 4-year, $18 million contract.
I know he's enjoyed his time at ESPN and what have you, but when you sit across from him every Sunday morning and have breakfast with him, you sense that you're talking to a coach, not a retired coach, and I really believe he has the desire to do that again, although what we have here is a 4-year contract in place, all the major hurdles cleared except one, and that is Bill Parcells saying, yes, I want to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's going to do it.
And Parcells' announcement could come as early as Tuesday. In Jacksonville, Tom Coughlin, the only coach that franchise has ever known, is no longer the coach and GM. He was let go after his 3rd straight non-playoff season. The league's worst team, the Bengals, after a 2-14 season, also made a switch. Dick LeBeau was also fired after 3 seasons where the team went 12-33. But owner Mike Brown emphasized he won't change the way he runs the team. And the Don says he'll be back for the Eagles' playoff opener in 2 weeks. He'll test that right ankle with the first team at practice on Wednesday.
College basketball now. Dear Mr. Official, I'm sorry for going ballistic on you during the Kentucky game. Mike Davis has to write a letter something like that to referee Bert Smith as part of his punishment for his tirade last week. Davis will also be suspended for 1 game. The Big Ten went along with Indiana's recommendation after originally proposing a 6-game suspension. Davis will sit out Tuesday's game against Ball State. On the court Monday.